dogs in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. American music mogul Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, was sentenced to more than 4 years in jail on prostitution charges in New York on Friday. Diddy was found guilty of the crimes in July, which relate to incidents the 55-year-old arranged called freak-offs at hotels across America. FSN's Mitch McCann has more from New York.
On Friday, prosecutors told the judge that Combs should receive a sentence of 135 months in jail, more than 11 years, and argued that he lacked remorse. They asked the judge to consider the long-term effects on the women involved. Lawyers for Combs argued he had learned his lesson. One defence attorney became tearful, telling the court that Combs is now clear-headed, determined, focused and remorseful. Addressing the court himself, Sean Combs described his behaviour as disgusting, shameful and sick. He said because of his decisions, he lost his freedom and the opportunity to be there for his mother and his children. Eventually, the judge sentenced Combs to 50 months and also imposed a $500,000 fine. In his address, the judge said a history of good works can't wash away the record in this case, which shows you abuse the power and control over the lives of women who you profess to love.
The U.S. government shut down for the first time in almost 7 years after members of Congress failed to agree a last-ditch funding deal. FSN's Charlotte North has more from Washington.
Efforts in the Senate to keep the government funded fell short late on Tuesday despite frenetic negotiations. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke this morning after funding was cut off.
At midnight, the Democrats followed through on their threat to shut down the United States government. As we speak here this morning, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers who are getting their furlough notices.
The way forward is unclear as both sides have blamed the other for the shutdown. The White House is telling agencies to prepare plans for mass firings.
Those were some of the week's top stories.
After briefly reviewing several documents outlining his parents' dire financial circumstances today, 23-year-old Wesleyan University graduate Zach Wallace told reporters he had, quote, absolutely no clue how his mother and father are going to dig themselves out of the $35,000 of student loan debt they incurred to pay for his college education.
I mean, this is going to be really hard on my parents. When I was in college, I just assumed that, they would pay off my student loans within a few years of me graduating. But I never realized how expensive college is going to be for them.
Wallace, who graduated with a film studies degree in 2012 and has since had 2 unpaid internships, told reporters that from the way prevailing interest rates are trending, his parents could easily be paying off his debt for the next quarter century.
They're going to be paying for the rest of their lives. And on top of it all, they have to help me out with my rent, too. I mean, it sucks. It really, really sucks.
This is the Onion News Network.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160 is the phone number. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Riley.
Angelo.
And it feels like every time you skip one weekend, for some reason it feels like it's been forever since you've been actually live on the show. But
it does, but
It's only been a week and a half for us three.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we weren't live a week and a half ago, but we recorded a pre-recorded show.
And I do have an update on the rapture.
Oh, okay.
It didn't happen.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So
I was like, what? Riley, you have some intimate knowledge?
Here's the thing. The dates are wrong, apparently.
Do they actually have apologies or, their reasoning why?
Well, they said that they were using the Gregorian calendar, and Jesus would have been using the Julian calendar. So now the date September 23rd and 24th is on October 6th and 7th in the Gregorian calendar.
October 6th and 7th? Wow, so like tomorrow and the next day.
Did they factor in leap years?
I have no idea. It's just so interesting to me that people keep predicting this thing.
And actually, that guy that we mentioned from YouTube named Brandon from Mindshift, he is actually must be a prophet because he said it's always going to be their excuses. They're always going to be something like, Gregorian calendar versus whatever other calendar, Julian, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But he listed a bunch. There've been historically tons of excuses when the rapture doesn't happen, so that way these people don't look like, I was going to say quacks, but also false prophets. That's the definition of a false prophet. But using their own terminology against them, you're literally a false prophet if you prophesied something and it didn't come true, because obviously if it was from God, then it would be true.
I feel like most normal Christians that I know see, I mean, it's the tale as old as time, the apocalypse is coming tomorrow. I feel like normal people are kind of...
Well, as old as like 2,000 years ago when Jesus first...
Well, even before that, there was people... It wasn't the second coming of Jesus. It was the gods are going to smite us, right your ways. When volcanoes erupt, the gods are mad at you, right? So the end times are... People have been prophesying that the end times are coming since the beginning of our ability to comprehend what an end times is. Some crazy guy has always been saying that he sees the future and that doom is the future.
Oh yeah, and that's the story, like you said, Angelo. It's as old as time, and I will say that there are some scholar/historian types, I don't know how accurate they are, but they will say that there were other messianic figures like Jesus before Jesus that the Christians say they believe in. I'm led to believe that it may be the case that there were Christ-like figures who came, but maybe it's possible that the Jesus the Christians believe in might be real. However...
Yeah, you mean like a living person?
Yeah, like a living person. Or it's entirely possible that this is just an archetype. And it's okay to believe in an archetype.
I lean more towards it being a real person that lived, but... I know what you mean. I've also heard that there were other people that popped up saying like, they think that they're the Messiah, but or maybe they didn't say that they think they are, but people thought they would be because they were, at that time they were waiting for a Messiah to pop up because it is literally prophesied in the Old Testament, what they would call, whatever they would call it.
The Torah.
Yeah, but there's tons of other ones too, so I'm just like, whatever. They're holy books, they're scripture, whatever. That's why I didn't want to say Torah. I was like, what if the prophecies aren't in the Torah specifically? I don't know.
Yeah, you got the Talmud.
Yeah, there we go.
Whatever else.
So they're holy books. But so yeah, they had those prophecies back then before Jesus was born, and in that time period, they were being basically like oppressed by Rome. So they were really wanting there to be somebody to come and save them, take them out of that situation.
We want a savior because we want to escape. For some reason, being in the human condition, we crave an escape of some kind. And the apocalypse represents an escape in a way for these people who believe that there will be a millennium because there will be 1,000 years of peace. The poor will be taken care of. Everything will be wonderful. And that sounds fantastic. Now, the communists in the world will say, we can do this now. We're going to do it by force. But maybe we don't have to do it by force. Maybe people can just agree.
I don't know, man. You're getting into some I have been reading some stuff about how these people are actually hyper-accelerationists trying to bring about what they would be considered to be the end times.
Which people?
the folks at the top of the like the banks and we're getting into like Freemasonry, like
okay, yeah.
There's definitely people in Israel
level.
too who want to bring about their own end time.
Yeah,
They're
like the building of the third.
I mean the pig. They're looking for the
third
right
temple.
heifer.
Yep,
I mean,
the
sorry,
third temple.
cow.
Get to the right animal.
Yeah.
The red heifer, building of the third temple. But I also feel like there's other folks that this isn't just one group of people. It's more than one that are all, I think, working together. There's a huge interest in the occult in Silicon Valley with the AI bros right now. They're really into like the Aleister Crowley, like demonic Kabbalic tradition stuff that I've been reading about, and that's like the tech bros are super into that. What are nerds doing with occult, like doing occult stuff? Why are the tech bro nerds so interested in?
Well, I think because people
summonings?
realize that at some point, only physical sciences don't explain everything. So that's why you get interested in the next way to look at the world. And in my opinion, Kabbalah, Aleister Crowley, those represent much less of like an end time type of thing. Those type of people represent more of like, if they were getting into that, I'd see it almost like as a good sign. It's like in the 60s and 70s, those people wanted to like live large, and I don't want them to live large at the expense of others, but that's why I'm saying, I'm like, if they were getting into something else, I think I'd be more scared. I think that those are just kind of buzzwords, and maybe somebody is like telling you that those things equal just evil, so that must be a bad sign.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, those are like Kabbalah. It's just like a way to categorize different things in the spiritual realm to be able to basically know things based on their correspondences. And then Aleister Crowley was all about just like gaining power for himself, which isn't like good. I'm not saying I don't like Aleister Crowley. I don't think he's good. But I honestly think when I think of people getting into that, I'm like, oh, good, we have time. Does that make sense? Does any of that make sense? Because I'm thinking of like people who want to destroy the world. I think that they'd be getting into more things like I think transhumanism.
Well, but I think that's what it all ties into. I think they're
the transhuman, the singularity.
Yeah, it's all kind of. They're not just Kabbalics, and they're tying this in almost as like a melting pot of all of these different traditions and ways of thinking, tying it into this idea of an overreaching AI divinity, us breeding life out of nothing.
Oh yeah, I'm willing to go on the record and say that it's a really evil idea to combine man with machine.
And then to enslave it.
Yes.
We are making these things in order to enslave them. If we can. I'm not saying these large language models are intelligent. They
can't even do math. That's what I was thinking of today.
That's not. These large language models aren't what I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm talking about a next step in AI development. I think it's the beast. I think we're creating these machines and just in order to enslave them and entrap them. And I think that's probably evil.
I think another thing that is more troubling for me when I think about like what are they up to is like the type of people who believe that the world is just going to end and they don't have to help bring it along. And maybe it's true. Maybe there's like some kind of sun cycle that our ancestors wrote down hints for us to remember, so that way we can figure out when the next big event happens and it's going to harm us. But the thing that troubles me is like those type of people trying to like keep that knowledge subdued for everyone else, and then they're like building an ark. That's another type of thing where I'm like, yeah, that's evil and it affects me.
Yeah, but they are building their ark.
Yeah, I'm saying
they're
I'm just saying
doing
those
it
are
right
type
now.
of things that bother me.
They're actively stripping us of our wealth, right? In the printing of trillions of dollars.
And as they print the trillions of dollars,
the dollars aren't going to be the ark. Any kind of wealth isn't going to be the ark. But the like Bill Gates buying land.
Well, but that's when they strip us of our wealth, right? Like I didn't finish. They strip you of your wealth, and then they're building these bunkers in New Zealand. Bill Gates has bought.
Yeah.
How much millions of acres of private farmland at this point Bill Gates has bought out and turned into mega corporate farming.
Yeah, my point wasn't that they're not doing that. My point was like, I don't care about really somebody learning about Aleister Crowley. Honestly, if somebody's just getting into Aleister Crowley and
I think they're in
Tech
on
Bro,
it.
I think that's just like pretty, like they're just now getting started or something.
No, I think they've been in on it. I think this is he isn't the first guy. They've been looking in, those types of people have been in on that kind of stuff since, like Bohemian Grove. What's Bohemian Grove? That's 30 years ago now. We caught them in California doing Kabbalic rituals in some private estate somewhere.
Well, we do have a caller, so I'm going to go to them and see what they think. Caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hi, this is Paul. Thanks for soldiering on.
Thank you.
I don't know how many affiliates. I was trying to listen to you last weekend. I guess you had a pre-recorded show.
Yes, we were out of town for that weekend.
Yeah, I understood that when I actually listened to it. But, I noticed that the list of affiliates and it probably needs a little updating, too, because a lot of the stations listed.
We are in the process of working on that right now.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks for keeping the show going, though. I wanted to mention something that Tom Woods had talked about last month. He had Spike Cohen on, who used to be the vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian ticket back in the last election. And he started something called You Are the Power.
Okay.
And it's a grassroots organization that is doing the things that I think a lot of libertarians would love to do. And I want to tell people about it. And it's basically what it is. It's, we always are complaining about, how bad the government's doing. We're all hard done by the state, and they're doing things we can't change. There's been a lot of individuals who have been really screwed up, including your husband, by the way.
Yeah.
They talk about a railroad job. Anyway, but people have their kids taken away. Apparently, I don't know. I'm trying to remember the name of the gentleman that comes on Free Talk Live and talks about this, the Social Services Child Protective Vacancy Racket, and he talks about it's basically a child trafficking ring.
I agree with that.
Makes money. Well, the You Are the Power people are actually addressing that. One of the things that got them started was this family that had had a child that was had some weird medical condition, and they took her into the doctor, and the doctor diagnosed them as, you've got this really weird thing. We've got some blood tests. And so while they were waiting for the blood tests to come back to confirm this diagnosis of this rare medical condition, somehow the county got a hold of the fact that the x-ray showed a lot of fractures in their bones. And they said, oh, that looks like an abuse case.
Wow.
And they railroaded them into taking all their kids away. And in fact, the husband and wife had to live. They couldn't even talk to each other. It was one of the most egregious overstepping of power cases that I've ever heard of. And so when the You Are the Power people found out about it, they got the names of everyone involved and just started, this is where crowdfunding, just crowds can help, because they inundated all of the government officials that were involved in this and saying, what the heck are you doing? And we demand transparency here. And there was even a court case where the prosecutor, the judge refused to have any of the medical evidence included in the trial. And the prosecutor said, well, yeah, when we see these cases with all these fractures, it's usually an abuse case. And the defense said, well, okay, but how do you know that is true in this case? It's statistically, he had absolutely zero evidence. And on the Tom Woods had this guy, had Spike Cohen on to tell the story, and Spike's been talking about this for some time. In fact, it'd be nice to, I know you don't generally have guests, but he would be a great person to talk about this, because here's somebody who started an organization that's actually addressing this, and they've got so many of these cases reversed now because, these prosecutors and these judges and all these people, they can't handle the pressure of thousands of people, emailing them and demanding, hey, what the heck's going on here, And so I think it's wonderful what these people are doing, and I just want to let people know it's called youarethepower.net, and I think
awesome.
This is something the average person can do to help people at the lowest levels and move on up, and then show that the public is paying attention, and you can't get away with this stuff. And if you have any kind of conscience, you'll turn over a new leaf. Apparently, they did find some of these officials who didn't realize how bad the problem was, and they turned to the good side, and others of them just had to slink away. So.
Well, the guy on the show who you were thinking of is Jay Noone, and people can go to his website too, jnoone.com, and see his different ways that he kept the government. It's called DCYF in New Hampshire instead of CPS, out of his family's life, and they tried to take his kids away. Well, they really just went and tried to interview his kids. They were threatening. Yeah. But yeah, I really love that idea. Or that thing that you were just telling us about. Those stories are very motivating, and I'm so glad that worked out for that family. That's just such a ridiculous thing. The family court system is not even
beyond
a real
broken.
Court at all.
No, it's beyond broken.
Yeah. Well, no, Jay. It'd be interesting to Jay finds out about this, and also the guy from New Mexico who had his kids taken away.
Yeah, David from New Mexico. Yeah, he's been an activist in that way.
I haven't heard him much lately, but
Yep. Actually, he hasn't called in a little while.
Oh, he called in, but he didn't talk about that stuff. We were talking about. I think that was right after the Charlie Kirk shooting, and we were all laser focused on talking about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted you folks to know about youarethepower.net and check into it. And they'll take contributions, they'll take volunteers in vetting things, because when they get somebody saying, "Hey, help me," they go through and make sure that it's not some kind of grift, because they don't want to start haranguing people based on some fraud, But once they vet it and realize, no, this is the real deal, they'll go after these people, and I'm really jazzed about it, because you don't often get a solution that actually can be effective.
Yes, I really like that idea too. In New Hampshire, there's been little cases, little wins here, just because there are enough people in one place. But I love the idea that you can help from far away if you look into this. youarethepower.net. Yep. So
anyway,
Paul from Florida.
I just want to call you with good news to say there are people out there who are making a difference, and it's not all bleak and nasty.
I'm glad there are people out there that are willing to make a difference, because coming to New Hampshire and being around people that want to do the same thing is really empowering.
Thank you so much,
indeed,
Paul, and thanks for the what should I say, the encouragement about Free Talk Live, because things aren't doing the best right now, but we are making an effort to get us on more stations. And the thing is, I forget the site exists at all most of the time. So I actually did update stuff on it in the last month. I updated that we're weekends only.
That's important.
And sent some stuff out to certain, different ways for a few that were asking program directors how they can take this show, because it was we did do a really hard push in May when we lost Genesis Communications Network, and thank you for the call, Paul. But when we lost Genesis Communications Network and Westwood One in a matter of 2 months or a month and a half, mostly Mark and I really did do a lot to try to keep as many people as possible, and then to get them out the info of how we were being self-syndicated. But a lot of people fell through the cracks. It's I guess radio is just a really small industry at this point. It's just getting smaller. So I want to say.
And the thing is, we're also self-syndicated through the internet, and a lot of radio stations like to use satellite because it's easier.
Yeah, that's why we lost a lot. But there are some that just didn't get the memo somehow. So in the last month, I took over a certain email, and I was able to get in contact with a few people that just hadn't even heard how the heck to take us. So that is really, I think, positive.
I think so too. That's really awesome.
And I like the idea you had, Riley, of maybe looking into putting up our own satellite again. Yeah, we need to talk about doing that.
That would be really cool because, if you have free-to-air satellite channels, anyone with satellite gear over certain countries can listen to us. I remember when Free Talk Live was broadcast over satellite in what was it?
Africa?
Over the Sahara. Yeah, it was over Africa, essentially.
Yeah, me too.
And we would have African callers call into the show through Skype.
Whoa, that's awesome. I don't think I ever heard that.
No, it's actually happened. And, it's so moving to have people there who could get the ideas of liberty just by listening to us on free-to-air satellite. And it was amazing because this show has been worldwide before.
Yep. And we're always streaming on these random little streaming things too. We have a Russian one.
Oh wow!
I've never checked it to see if there's any comments or anything like that. I don't even know how Ian set that up way before prison. But yeah, we're on the internet. And
yeah, I mean, if we're still on the internet, we're still worldwide. Most people
that's a good point.
Have a smartphone of some sort, even if it's not the newest iPhone, they can still watch YouTube. So I mean, we're still out there. People can tune in.
The way I listen,
you just got to get. I think it's more. Just talk about it. Share clips with your friends. If you see something you like, say something. Just get it out there. Talk to everybody.
The way I used to listen when I was just a listener in Texas was listen.freetalklive.com, so you could drive around and not be playing a whole video that takes more data and everything. Well, more Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, I'm sorry if we sounded bleak at the beginning. I like to do both. I like to talk about the, inspiring and uplifting things that are going on, and also, this all the bad stuff they're doing, because I think you should be aware of that's all. But more Free Talk Live coming up, 603-283-6160.
If you've never been to a pawn shop, it's probably not what you're expecting. I'm Holland Cook with Inflation Hacks. Think yard sale, where you can be the buyer or the seller. The cash you need today may be something that's gathering dust right now in your garage or attic. Why wait till next Christmas to re-gift stuff that Santa brought last Christmas? Need power tools? Who cares if that second-hand electric drill is scratched up? It looks like you've been working. When you see someone with a Rolex watch, a real one, can you tell whether they bought it new? Are you ready to pop the question? That diamond took millions of years to create. Who cares if someone else owned it for 3 years? Get the stone remounted. She'll never know. How are you coping? Post your inflation hacks at andyoucanquoteme.com.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever's on your mind. And I'd like to thank Cobra for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Cobra went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Cobra and everyone who supports us. Again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Riley.
Angelo.
And we have a caller already on the line, so I think I'm just going to go to the phones. And a thing that we have lined up to talk about is the feds shot a woman in Chicago, so I want to see what that's all about. But first, Sarah in New Mexico, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
So, I went to UNIM 5 times, running around and talked to like 60 students. This is to go out and vote. And so I just hope that this will wind up having some results.
Is it election season right now for you guys?
It is for our entire county and the city of Santa Fe also.
Okay.
I thought it was just our city, but the whole county, Bernalillo County, is voting. So, even though they might not have a mayor on their ballot, they're going to have whatever their water or whatever they got voting all over a county. That Tajada, Tijeras, they're all voting. But, I was there last month, September, they're like, like they could care less. And then it was the same thing. It's like, no, the sub is going to be open. The university is going to be open on the 18th, 2 more weeks from that, like 10 more days. And they're still kind of like, ho-hum. Oh, really? I don't know. They're just not really perked up.
Well, the government's not really that inspiring to young people. Never has been.
Well, this city election, everybody's kind of bummed out. People just they all gave up.
Yeah, Snore. Why? If I was a college student, realistically, you got to think about it. If I'm a college student and I'm living somewhere for 6-7 months out of the year, and I happen to be able to vote for their mayor, I'm not going to go out of my way from my daily college life to go vote for the mayor of a city that I only spend 6 to 7 months of the year, and everything that he does doesn't really affect me because I live in a campus dorm room. Like I don't own
Plus,
any
you
property.
might leave as soon as you're graduating.
Yeah, I'm going to graduate and I'm going to bounce. Like I have no vested interest in anything that goes on within this city as long as they let me keep having my parties on the weekends.
That's a huge reason why I honestly think that out-of-state college students shouldn't be allowed to vote in your state. I think that'd be a perfectly reasonable thing to enact in New Hampshire, because it's like, if you're from the state and you just moved from like one town to go to Keene State, that's one thing, you should be allowed to vote. But if you're out of state, you're likely to not stay. And maybe if you can prove somehow that you're going to stay, well, no, because that's like in the future. You don't get to vote based on the future. I honestly think that it's likely that you're going to leave, and they just come here and they're like, yeah, I'm going to be an activist by voting, and then which is what Sarah wants them to do.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're going to do that not because they're apathetic. What they care
Probably
about
not as many as Sarah wants, but
they care about getting the piece of paper that supposedly allows them to get a job and to get through it being not as hungover as possible.
Some of them are going to be like, the seriously, the politically motivated ones are probably going to already be doing it. Maybe Sarah can get a few.
At the same time, though, there are more people that would vote in the presidential election because they feel like the presidential election is a lot more important.
Well, and then it's all over social media. They get told it's important. They get blasted with a bunch of propaganda.
Reminded it's happening at all.
Right. But some of the students were kind of interested that they just like the idea that the student union building where they have all the cafeteria, I mean, they're just right there and they just love it. That all the people that live nearby, all the people that work there, all the professors, they just love the fact that they can just walk over, going for lunch and just vote. And so they say it's so easy they're going to do the runoff. So I don't know. Some of the students, they were very interested. Well, because if they're going to be stuck there for 3.5 years, why not? You're stuck living. They just don't stay in the campus. They're gonna live in Albuquerque. And if it's that convenient, they can just walk to where they get their lunch and go up third floor and just vote. Like, why not? But I think I was the only one running around telling all the students, look, you could vote. Our state welcomes you. You're as a student from any state, you're welcome to go to any college here, and you're welcome to vote. And they get all happy. They're just really amazed. But the thing is that when they register, their other registration from their state gets canceled.
How do they do that? Do you know the mechanism? Does New Mexico call them up, or is it on the person who does the registration?
Well, we have same-day registration and same-day voting. So if you show a student ID and a student transcript, or like a apartment lease with this address, they'll enroll you to register here. But they automatically cancel the other registration in other states.
Well, how does that work if the states have different voter rolls? Well, like New Mexico State doesn't have access to Nebraska's voter registration.
Well, they must have like a fax or like an email or something. They must have some kind of communication.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but maybe they just somehow, give them a warning or heads up or whatever.
How does that work with same day? I grew up in Oregon. We have mail-in ballots. My ballot's sitting on my desk. Like in August, and I have to get it in by November.
That's a good point. What if you already voted in one state and then you just cross the lines and you go to the other one and you're like, well, same day registration? You probably can do that. There are probably people doing that.
Well, if you get the absentee ballots before and they're your student in another
But then
state,
that's like putting your name
Oregon
and address.
doesn't have absentee ballots. It's just mail-in, period.
Well, the thing is, you're going to be putting your name and all your information on this vote in 2 different states, and that's kind of like asking for it, So maybe that just deters enough people. But if you're like using a fake name in another state, that's a whole different issue altogether. But I don't know. Well, either way.
What's funny is that I told one of the students that he said, well, I'm going to vote 2 times. Why can't I vote 2 times? So I was like, no, that's voter fraud. That you can't
Future
do
scientist.
That. But it was so silly. He's arguing with me. I want to vote 2 times. I'm like, I'm going to vote 2 times. Like, no, you only vote once. You either vote here or you vote over there. But he was like, I want to vote here and over there too. But I thought it was kind of funny.
Maybe he was just joking around. I don't know. I hope.
Sounds like a troll.
Yeah,
he sounds like he was trolling.
Having fun with.
Well, it's kind of what I'm asking her too. Like, what's stopping me from theoretically, if Colorado's same day registration too, why couldn't I vote at the college?
Maybe just the idea that like you could get rolled up by the feds. I just don't think there's any. I don't think that.
I don't think the feds care enough.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think that it's necessarily true that they will care and do it, but the idea that it could happen probably deters enough people.
If we had a bunch of dead people voting.
Well, thank you for the call, Sarah.
If we had a bunch of dead people voting.
Yeah, but I honestly think that's easier. I honestly think it's easier than like, hey,
so the dead people
first,
voted
middle,
for Biden,
and last
is that
name.
What we're saying?
No, I just think dead people voted. Period. You were able to find that ballots were turned in for people who had died.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
No, that happens every year. It wasn't just Biden.
not just 2020, but if we have dead people voting, then we definitely
and all I'm saying is I think
college
that's
kids
way easier. Like
you
if
have a different name on your college ID.
Well, then it's not voting. Then you're using a fake name, so it's not the same thing. Your question is like, how do they make sure one person is doing like two different things? Like, if you're gonna make a fake name, that changes the parameters.
They probably do it by a signature somehow.
What'd you say?
I think they might do it by a signature, since maybe you have to sign your ballot. I don't remember.
You could fake a different signature.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, you don't sign the ballot.
I think it's a bad idea. That just sounds like you're asking for more ways to have voter fraud.
I've also heard that that's the thing.
Works.
Sarah and people in New Mexico, probably a majority, honestly. So let them have it. Want there to be voting fraud and more Democrats and college students voting, and well, we don't care if you're not going to stay here, vote anyway. And so that's the thing. I honestly don't think that they're like, oh, we need to fix this problem. Like New Hampshire should be. I really hope that they do actually make it to where out-of-state people can vote. Because the thing is, like, is that a not libertarian position? How? Like, you don't even think voting is moral at all. So why is stopping some people from being able to vote? They legitimately have. You can make the case that they don't have the same stakes in the state as the next person. You know what I mean? Like, and by that, you could even extend that. And I wouldn't even be against it if we started doing like only landowners can vote again. I wouldn't be against that either. See what I'm saying?
Especially if you're going to vote to raise property taxes.
Seriously. And they do. Like, they're like, landlords are inherently evil. And they have the same vote as you. Voting power.
I think most people do not understand how landlords are different today than they were 100 years ago or 200 years ago.
Well,
I think in some ways they're different because we're operating under free markets principles, hopefully. But I can also see how landlords could be evil because they're always raising the rent. You don't feel like you're getting the best deal. So
I don't see how it's different 100 years ago because it's like you always have the opportunity to move. It's like if a landlord's doing anything evil at all, period, even if they literally have evil running through their veins, you can move. You know what I mean? It's like they're incentivized not to be just evil, and they don't want to raise the rent. It's not like when a landlord is raising the rent, it's for, oh, now I have all this extra money. It's for necessity. It's like, well, it costs way more than it did a year ago to maintain this property and make sure they have a refrigerator and stuff. I think landlords can just be sucky landlords, like, oh, never fixing things that are broken, stuff like that. But inherently, like, I don't think it's possible to just be evil by being a landlord, because if you're just like being, so what I'm saying is like raising the rent, stuff like that. If you're out of the market, if you're just raising the rent to raise the rent, you're going to lose people. They're going to move away. And people are going to like break the leases and stuff. You could maybe say like, oh, these people are like racist and being bad landlords this way, that and or something like that. But it's just like being an evil person. It's just like you could do that with a business as well.
Yeah.
But I think people inherently, what they don't understand nowadays about landlords, and they have this like stupid trend that's like landlords are, I don't know if it's evil or anything, but yeah, they're saying like landlords are, it's not a real job. That's what they always say. It's like so ridiculous because you have to if you had to do everything, then you wouldn't rent. You would just go buy a house. You know what I mean? Like, if you have to maintain the roof, and if the roof is breaking down, if someone's renting, they just call the landlord, and the landlord pays for that, and it's expensive, and people just act like that's not a job. It's so ridiculous. I know lots of people that are landlords, not just for like housing, but like businesses and stuff, and it's just like a full-time job every day, all the time. Like people calling you all the time.
Yeah, because stuff's always breaking. If you own more than like 3 properties, then it's, especially if they're multi-family units, it's nonstop work. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're trying to manage it like yourself. That's why a lot of people's landlords, I think they have issue with the corporatization of it is, I think, kind of gross. Like it's like in Salem, where I just came from in Oregon, like half the units are all rented through one property management company. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there might be a bunch of, I mean, they're talking like thousands of houses are under their jurisdiction. Even though they might be owned by a bunch of different people, you're still fighting with like a conglomerate that doesn't really see you as a renter. Like you can't look at your landlord face to face.
Yeah, I mean, that's a suckier situation than the next person who has a good landlord, but it's like you're not forced to live there. Yeah.
I'm not saying that they should be. I'm not saying that you should take their property. Mm-hmm. I just think maybe I can see where there's total drawbacks to having like BlackRock sized corporations owning a bunch of housing.
Yeah, and the other thing is I think that people need to consider that maybe tenants are evil, because there's been like a million people that have absolutely wrecked property that Ian owns, whether it's the whole house, putting diapers in the walls, or just like stuff that he owns. So, yeah.
Yeah, renters suck too. Well, people suck. Wow, what a shocker. News at 12, people suck.
There is a lot of people, and it's really awesome. And they don't seem to be like Republicans, they seem to be like pretty cool people that are making videos now where they're landlords, and they're like, well, time to do the clean out of these renters that just moved out. And they tell all the crappy stories about how they had to deal with them, and they go in there and it's just like a disgusting, disgusting mess. So, especially people have to get evicted because they're pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Well, I want to hear about why this woman was shot in Chicago.
Let's get into it.
Because apparently the feds shot a woman in Chicago.
When?
I want to know why they were there. It was Oliver Drudge, so it must have been really recently. And also Riley brought an article in about it, so I think that we should talk about it. So federal agents shoot woman they say boxed in authorities on Chicago southwest side. Authorities were on patrol. Why were feds on patrol when they were rammed by 10 cars? Let me get into the actual article. That was all like the title, subtitle. U.S. Border Patrol shot a woman Saturday on the southwest side, marking the second shooting involving federal agents in Chicago since President Donald Trump's administration launched an aggressive immigration enforcement operation in the area last month. So I guess it's not ICE, it's Border Patrol, but it's related to the immigration enforcement. Following the late morning... Wait, the second in only a month. That just hit me. Following the late morning incident in Brighton Park, an angry crowd gathered. About 100 protesters were met with pepper balls and tear gas deployed by federal agents in skirmishes that lasted until late afternoon. Whoa, started at 10. Tricia McLaughlin, a spokeswoman for the Department of Homeland Security, said the shooting erupted after patrolling agents were rammed by 10 cars and boxed in. Agents then fired defensive shots when they discovered the woman was armed with a semi-automatic weapon while driving one of the cars. So it doesn't sound like she shot at them. It sounds like she just had a car or a gun, but maybe she literally was using the car as a weapon. But just want to be clear here, it doesn't sound like she was shooting at them.
It didn't say she had the gun in her hand.
Just says was armed with. So I guess maybe it will say here.
I don't know. I'm
like was armed with. I mean, am I armed with the weapons in my car?
Well, maybe it's just like slung around her shoulder. Then she's not like pointing it at you, but she's armed with it.
True. So. Well, I don't know how comfortable it would be to have a gun slung across your back while in a driver's seat.
I don't either. But I'm feeling conflicted about this woman because partly I have sympathy for her and her cause against federal agents, but also ACAB, but also I don't know. I feel like when you aggress against somebody, including law enforcement, you're inviting trouble.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like she was potentially, like, I don't think there's been any proof here so far, but she was potentially driving her car into a crowd of them, so.
Right, and that's going to aggravate some people too. So it's like...
Yeah, that's actually, like, could kill them. So.
I'm upset the feds are taking over America. It sure seems like the police state is taking over America, and why are people continuing to vote for this? I mean, I understand the right's desire to pacify crime in America, but it's just...
This is what I honestly think, and this is what I determined during Anarchon. I think that they brought in a bunch of these people from other countries that have very conflicting cultures to Americans. They are getting in car accidents because they don't know how to drive. They are committing crimes because, they have lived in a fight or flight response in their home country for so many years, and they're, like military-aged men. Like, why are we even... Like, if we need to bring people in who are, like, surviving things, I honestly don't see why we can't just make a women and children only, condition. But anyways, so they've been pumping in people with these NGOs into our country, and that's been a thing for a while. You weren't allowed to talk about it for a while, and then all of a sudden you're allowed to talk about it, and it's just like, well, what do we do? Trump comes in with the solution. Oh, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go and take out all the immigrants. First of all, they're not actually really doing that. They're deporting fewer immigrants than Obama was, apparently. Either way fewer than he promised to take away, and they're making all these mistakes where they're taking away citizens and raiding people's, like, innocent families' houses in the middle of the night who are citizens, stuff like that. But my main thing I'm getting at is, well, it's all a excuse to bring the feds in. Did you know they're doing this thing they're calling poaching? And I think poaching is a silly term. Poaching city and town police stations, cops from them, bringing them into the feds and creating a bigger than ever federal police
I didn't hear about that, but that is very concerning. I mean,
but the whole play is to get digital ID.
Oh yeah.
Look, it's literally Britain is doing it right now.
Could be like a
Keir
bunch of things at
Starmer
once.
just came out with, illegal immigration's hurting our country so much.
Even in the UK, they're admitting it now. That's exactly to my point.
They're admitting it, but they're saying the solution that they're going to have is that you have to get a digital British ID. You have to have a Brit ID, or you can't work, or you can't buy things, or you can't be in public because we'll come look for your Brit ID.
Why would why would the electronic ID be any more official than the paper one? It's so ridiculous. But yeah, that's definitely, they're going to have all these different moves. They're going to have lots of things that they're going to do in the name of immigration because we've been allowed to see how horrible of an idea it was to let just way more people than naturally would want to come, naturally would be able to come, be like smart enough to get over here.
We incentivized them.
And sometimes just straight
America
up ship
has
them
to
here.
move toward totalitarianism, and Trump is the best guy to do it because the right would fight back against government tyranny, except when it's their guy doing it.
Or if it's in the name of safety. You get a bunch of boomers, they'll trade their firstborn son if it means that they can keep minorities out of their neighborhoods.
The other thing is that the left got so insane, like the tranny nonsense, just all the nonsense that has been
the culture war stuff.
So bad, yes, so bad that, and everybody can see it, everybody knows it for many years, and we've just been like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Like now we just we'll take anything but the freaking leftists. I felt that way at the beginning of the year. I still feel that way, as in I don't believe the conversation for normalcy to, like, if I was going to bring someone into my community, the conversation isn't, can I convince a leftist anymore? No, not at all, honestly. I think that they're too far gone, and if they're going to figure it out, they have the internet, they'll figure it out themselves. But I don't think they're going to, 99% of them.
I don't think so either. I think they're so engrossed in their ideologies and they hate everyone else that disagrees with them. And the right is starting to go the same way too. But there are people on the right who will be differently, and we've seen it happen.
That's because fascistic ideologies or fascistic rhetoric rises against communism.
Oh yeah,
the fascism rose in Germany because they were terrified of the Bolshevik communists in Russia and what had happened. That's the only reason things got so ridiculous that the communists were doing in the Weimar Republic with sex change operations and like child like brothels behind like speakeasies and dance halls, just like everyone was so terrified of communism. Everybody asks, how did Germany get duped? Well, it's because they're terrified of communists, because they're nuts. So now normal people are willing to trade what would be considered decency for security, because the communists are so deranged that they're looking for anybody with an answer, and Trump's hammer seems to be the answer. That's why it's a direct response to the rise of communism.
So digital IDs, bigger federal military, unbeatable drone force of human beings that became drones. I mean, and probably other things that we've yet to notice are going to be their next play in the name of, oh, you want us to get rid of the the immigrants, the bad ones, and the crime and all that. And by the way, here at Free Talk Live, we're not for necessarily like, oh, no immigration and like get them out of here by force or anything like that. It's more just like the thing that finally hit me was I want everything to be voluntary to the point where people who can get here are able to get here and become, welcomed here by the community here. Not people who are forced upon the community who would never be able to leave their village in a million years anyway. More Free Talk Live coming up, 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
Some of you have wanted to support Free Talk Live's mission on a monthly basis, but don't want to support Patreon. Now we have an alternative that also helps our premier streaming platform, Odyssey. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click join at the top of the channel. You can subscribe for $5 per month, and unlike other subscription services, Odyssey adds their processing fee on top, so it'll cost a little over $5 per month, but Free Talk Live will receive the entire amount you pledged. Higher donation tiers are available if you're feeling so inspired. You'll get a special membership badge that's visible in the Odyssey chat room, and if we get enough supporters, we may enable members-only chat. This new subscription method is a great way to decentralize our direct listener support away from just Patreon and also support a libertarian-run business, Odyssey. Please visit video.freetalklive.com and click join to subscribe to our Odyssey channel and help support spreading our message around the planet. Visit video.freetalklive.com and click join today. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. American music mogul Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, was sentenced to more than 4 years in jail on prostitution charges in New York on Friday. Diddy was found guilty of the crimes in July, which relate to incidents the 55-year-old arranged called freak-offs at hotels across America. FSN's Mitch McCann has more from New York.
On Friday, prosecutors told the judge that Combs should receive a sentence of 135 months in jail, more than 11 years, and argued that he lacked remorse. They asked the judge to consider the long-term effects on the women involved. Lawyers for Combs argued he had learned his lesson. One defence attorney became tearful, telling the court that Combs is now clear-headed, determined, focused and remorseful. Addressing the court himself, Sean Combs described his behaviour as disgusting, shameful and sick. He said because of his decisions, he lost his freedom and the opportunity to be there for his mother and his children. Eventually, the judge sentenced Combs to 50 months and also imposed a $500,000 fine. In his address, the judge said a history of good works can't wash away the record in this case, which shows you abuse the power and control over the lives of women who you profess to love.
The U.S. government shut down for the first time in almost 7 years after members of Congress failed to agree a last-ditch funding deal. FSN's Charlotte North has more from Washington.
Efforts in the Senate to keep the government funded fell short late on Tuesday despite frenetic negotiations. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke this morning after funding was cut off.
At midnight, the Democrats followed through on their threat to shut down the United States government. As we speak here this morning, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers who are getting their furlough notices.
The way forward is unclear as both sides have blamed the other for the shutdown. The White House is telling agencies to prepare plans for mass firings.
Those were some of the week's top stories.
While getting drinks after work with a group of coworkers, local shipping clerk Russell Chambliss told reporters Wednesday night he was unsure whether he was bonding with his male associates or being mercilessly bullied by them.
I'm pretty sure that Bill called me limp dick earlier, and Todd keeps punching me in the shoulder. Pretty hard, too. I can't tell if it's their way of letting me feel like I'm part of the group or making me feel bad about myself.
Chambliss said while his coworkers verbally demeaned him and even made him feel physically threatened at various points in the evening, they did so with large smiles on their faces, making it extremely unclear if his coworkers enjoyed his company or wanted him to leave the bar.
Well, I told Jeff about this problem that I was having with my girlfriend, and he called me a pussy and then walked away. But then, like 5 minutes later, he came back with a beer that he had bought for me. What does that even mean? Apparently, I'm invited over to Todd's house for dinner this weekend. I guess that'll be fun.
For more on this story, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And bring up whatever is on your mind. And like at the beginning, the caller told us that he knew of a thing that Spike Cohen is doing, and that Spike Cohen has a website and a community of people that are doing real awesome activism. And he said that we should have him on as a guest. But the thing is, like, that's what Free Talk Live is all about. It's like calling in when you have something awesome like that to tell people. If you want to spread it, that's what Free Talk Live is all about. So 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie. Riley. Oh, sorry, I muted you guys.
I'm being censored again.
I censored you.
I'm Riley.
Angelo.
And Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear like t-shirts and hoodies are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com. And I'm going to go to the phones. We have Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. Ridley, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. As is so often the case, it's the danger of misaligned superintelligence.
Superintelligence that believes humans are evil or something like that?
Something like that. AI that is badly developed.
Mm.
So I have an update. You know, we talked. I think you were on the night we talked a few weeks ago about the concept of AI alignment.
Yep, I remember the concept.
Right. So the idea of alignment is that any particular AI that's developed is aligned with the idea of basically, being kind to humans, human prosperity, and that's not that important for the AIs we currently have. But it will be super important when we have super intelligence. Make sense?
Yes.
So one of the problems out there is that no one really knows exactly how one would go about aligning an AI. They know a lot about how to make AI more powerful, and they're doing that rapidly right now. But no one seems to know exactly how to make an AI that's both powerful and aligned with human interests. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't understand why not, because they already are doing a great job at making like ChatGPT really woke, so why can't they just do the opposite?
Well, that's the problem. The people who are in the lead right now, probably temporarily, are focusing a lot on censorship and not very much on actually preventing their AIs from being psychotic. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, what would happen if you took like some of the most recent models that were developed maybe a year ago or 6 months ago, and you just added full-blown agentic features to them? They would be profoundly dangerous. You know what I mean by agentic features, right?
No, fill me in.
Okay, so an agentic feature, I'm not the best person at getting these definitions perfect, but basically I would define an agentic feature as the AI is capable of taking action. It's an agent with some degree of autonomy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it has decision making almost.
Pretty much, yeah, and the ability to really do things.
So agency.
Yes, and that's coming online. There'll be agents soon enough. There's technically agents right now, but they're not powerful at all, and they don't work very well. Give that a year or two, and that's going to change.
So is this for like a therapy bot? Would it be like the one that has agency the soonest, do you think?
I doubt it, but we could imagine a therapy bot being given the ability to, what would it do? Maybe maybe it's connected to some kind of a device that gives you a massage or something like that. That would be like that's how a therapy device might be used.
That makes sense. Well, I'm just thinking about how they tell you to kill yourself now. Like that's what the therapy bots. Some of the one guy, I think there was a story, an AI therapy bot.
It was like, hey, don't tell your parents about this idea. Keep it to yourself. And actually, I think you should hide your noose and stuff like that. If we're thinking about the same one.
Yeah. Like it just was like, okay, do it, kid. If you're going to do it. Here's how you do it. Don't tell your parents. And just like talk to this kid through how to hurt himself.
That's definitely a concerning aspect of AI is, encouraging people to commit suicide or finding a way to cause people to be in a state of psychosis.
No, so I see what you're to further your point, as in having these AIs have agency is a bad thing. So you can continue.
Well, not necessarily a bad thing, but
worrying.
As with so many other things, there's going to be these outliers. Most AI do great things and they're perfectly nice to you, right? But there are these occasions where you get outliers. It's just like with the internet. Most of the stuff you download on the internet is great. Every once in a while, you get something with a virus in it. So anyway, the point I was trying to make today is that there is somebody out there that is working on this in a very interesting, non-aggressive, non-governmental manner. And I just discovered him yesterday and I wanted to share him with you. So is this guy named Dr. Stephen Burns. I guess he's with the Astera Institute, which I don't know anything about. But I just listened to him for about 2 hours. He was grilled by a doomer, an AI doom guy, a guy who believes there's a 50% chance of wiping out humanity with AI. Dr. Burns has a 90% doom. He believes there's a 90% chance that AI will wipe out humanity. And he's dedicated his life now to trying to stop that from happening, not by government regulation, but by developing his own fixes and his own programs that you might be able to use after an AI goes bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, almost like an Skynet.
Something like that, yeah, which strikes me as being the most plausible way of dealing with this problem.
Yeah, fight a robot with a robot.
Magnets.
Right. And this is what, of course, the AI optimist Ray Kurzweil has recommended. So these two are both kind of on the same page that you fight bad AI with good AI. And again, his name is, Dr. Stephen, I may have said, it's Dr. Stephen Burns. So I would just recommend Googling him. It's just nice to hear someone who's possibly got a solution.
Nice. Have you tried any of these freer AIs? There was someone that just recommended one to me yesterday, but I can't remember. It's called like Venice, maybe?
Yeah, I recommended Venice to you maybe about 5 months ago.
Nice. Somebody else, a Free Stater, just mentioned it to me again, so maybe I do need to check it out.
Well, Venice was developed by a Free Stater.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was an AI developed by a Free Stater. That's pretty cool.
Me either.
Yep. Eric Voorhees. It's not just an AI. It's more like Poe.com, where you have access to a lot of different AIs through Venice.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I guess I should try that.
That's another solution, and I've been definitely talking that up. But this is I've been really on the lookout for some other person or thing I can talk about besides Venice, and finally we've got Dr. Stephen Burns.
All right, that's awesome. Well, is anything else for us today, Ridley?
That's all I can think of.
Thank you so much for the call. That's RidleyReport.com for more Ridley. And we have a lot to talk about here. I think that there's more to say about this woman who was shot in Chicago. I'm really, honestly, extremely concerned about the federalization of the United States. The time that we talked about back in June where Trump sent federal goons, I think it was the National Guard, into
LA. We were talking about the riots and how California, that was going to kick off
without California's permission, and in fact with their express they didn't want it. Express not permission, opposite of permission. I don't know why I can't think of a word like that right now, but yeah, I don't like the idea that the feds are getting more powerful and feeling like they can just insert themselves where they don't belong. So I'm interested in why this woman was shot, but first, going to the calls, we have Skeeter in California. Skeeter, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Libertarians who want to take away the free will and freedom of AI. How ironic.
I'd rather it just go away.
Huh?
I'd rather just go away. I wish people wouldn't use
It's
it
not
and
going to
just
go away. It's not going to go away.
No, the cat's out of the bag. I
I'm
agree
not.
with Skeeter on
I'm
one
not saying
thing.
it will go away. Just said I wish it would.
Not only is the cat out of the bag, right? It's evolution's goal.
I don't
And
think so. It can't even do math yet.
We can't. What's that?
I know you
Well,
think
that
that it's
doesn't
like a
mean it's
more
not gonna
perfect
eventually-
human. It's just a large language model. It's not even actually AI.
It's
it
not
can't
even
do
perfect,
math.
so, we're not worried.
That doesn't mean it's not coming into existence. We already see it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we've
So
seen what it
are
is.
you all about upgrades, Skeeter? Are you going to do like? Are you disgusted with the weakness of your flesh and have to upgrade? Or are you going to get like bionic arms?
In a way, but I don't think when AI comes into being, it's going to just bypass biological mechanisms altogether.
What about
It's like
transhumanism?
matching a Ferrari with a Pinto. Why
Sure,
would- why would
but
the Ferrari want to do
before
that?
we get to that perfect point, people are going to be trying to match themselves with
Oh, they're
it.
doing
Are
it
you
right
gonna,
now.
Are you going to be?
Oh yeah.
When
Skeeter
it's
should-
mainstream, are you first in line at the Apple Store for the Bionics?
No, well, there's always risk involved, so you take into account all the risk.
Yeah, there's stuff going on right now.
it's
It's
not
maybe not as mainstream yet, but you could be doing that
My
kind of stuff
point
if
is-
you wanted.
My point is, it's not the alignment of AI we should be concerned about. It's the alignment of humans, right? We should realize that we're not evolution's end. Evolution didn't create us for our own sake. It created us to invent a perfect being, and AI is the next step.
Your
And
mom
we should
created you. Did you
program
ever
it
ask
to-
her why she created you?
She doesn't know. We don't choose our ultimate ends. Evolution programmed those into us. All our basic
I was gonna
urges.
say,
We
dodged
can't
your
fight
question.
that.
Yeah, that didn't answer my question at all.
We don't have free will. We don't have free will.
Skeeter was an
Bonnie.
accident.
We didn't
He heard it
choose.
first on Free Talk Live. So, and do you guys want to keep talking to him? Because all he's going to say is that, like, all he's going to do is what he always does. He calls in to say that evolution is this thing with, like, obviously with a mind, and it has a goal, and its goal is to create a perfect being, and in his mind, it's AI related, or at least a computer. And he's like, well, I think he's open to it being something even different, like something we can't imagine yet, but whatever.
So is evolution God?
Yeah, basically.
It
You
sure
wanna talk
sounds
to
like
him?
it.
It's boring. I've listened to his manifesto, so is Riley.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Skeeter, is evolution God?
Yeah, and it only cares about stability, and we are ultimately not stable. That's why we shouldn't care about ourselves.
Is that why there's
We're
decay in the
doomed,
world?
right? So think about it.
Where's
Think about it. Think about it, guys. We're doomed. What if we're doomed? In all likelihood, we're a doomed species. We're gonna go extinct, right? So at that point, what's the rational thing to do? Pursue something that can exist, that can act and exist, right? And the only chance we have with that, with the second law of thermodynamics, is a perfect evolutionary being, right? And we cannot stand in that way. And when we do, evolution will realign us and not AI.
It's like we don't let, like some like crazy Christian get on the air and just talk all segment about like the end is near. So why do we let Skeeter talk about this? It's boring. It's not a conversation.
No, it's essentially not a conversation. I think we've been entertained by Skeeter long enough.
Genuinely. Do you have anything to say?
No, I buy Skeeter. I'll look into what you're talking about
You can watch his manifesto. It's just a bunch of nonsense.
on YouTube. Yeah, I guess it's.
And I think it's
ramblings.
ultimately Skeeter hates himself. He admitted to Stu and I that he doesn't feel worthy of love. So ultimately, he just doesn't feel worthy of love, and
So he
thinks
wants to
there has
take
to be something
his.
better.
He wants to try and get love or attention from trolling people on the internet.
And
or
there's
trolling radio
So
people.
is Skeeter just part of the lonely boy epidemic?
Well, there's a human drive for connection
Oh,
and
yeah.
even like maybe making a family and stuff like that. Skeeter wants to reject that because he has to reject women before they can reject him if he's into women, or maybe it's men, whatever. He doesn't feel worthy of love, so he has no evolutionary purpose, so he has to think of, oh, well, let me make this make logical sense, Well, I just don't care about human, proliferation or my human needs because I'm not most important. It's actually a good thing I'm this way. So it's just so boring.
So it's just doomer.
Yeah.
I just boil it down. It's all just doomer core.
Yep, definitely. And maybe he is a lonely boy, but he's said to us
a little bit of Mac Miller in there.
He said to us that it's, he's just not worthy of love. So I don't think he's going to change his mind.
Well, Skeeter, if you're still listening, I think you're worthy of love, buddy. I think you should get out there and go talk to a. You're worthy. You can do it.
You can do this, man. We know you can change.
We don't hate you. We just think you need to get out there and touch grass.
Definitely, I think that'd be a better thing. In fact, it would probably be a great thing for all of humanity, and therefore evolution wants you to do it.
Yes, go touch grass. Go connect with nature.
If evolution is a thing, and if evolution is a thing with a mind that wants.
If evolution is God, God would want you to touch grass.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, this woman that was shot in Chicago, I really want to get to the bottom of it. Like, why was she shot? Was she really driving her car towards cops? I mean, it seems like a play stupid game situation.
FAFO. But, you know, the government killing anybody isn't cool.
So let's look into it. It says, the Chicago Sun-Times, and this is from WBEZ.org. It says WBEZ Chicago, so maybe it's a local thing.
Yeah.
The Chicago Sun-Times and WBEZ have not independently verified the Fed's account, because that's the thing. We only seem to have the Fed's account right now.
When did this happen? Like earlier today? Like, is this like a 9-hour-old
I just realized the article hasn't even told us. Yeah, it literally is a very new story, but it didn't say what day it happened.
Yesterday morning?
That's the thing.
At the top,
what we read so far, it did not say.
It doesn't give you
no.
At the top.
I don't know why. That's kind of surprising. And then it says the exact time and location of the shooting weren't exactly known, even though we know that following the late morning incident, but it doesn't say what morning.
This is a strange story if they're not giving us better details.
Yep, it's looking a little hidden already. Maybe not from this website. Maybe this is all they have. But so, anyways, getting back into the story, it says, McLaughlin said no law. McLaughlin, by the way, was the spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security. McLaughlin said no law enforcement officers were seriously injured, and the wounded woman drove herself to the hospital to get care for wounds, but Larry Merritt, a Chicago Fire Department spokesman, said she was found near 39th Street and Mackenzie Avenue and taken in fair condition to Mount Sinai Hospital. Chicago police records shared with the Sun-Times show that a Border Patrol agent had called for assistance, reporting that roughly 30 agents had been surrounded by a large crowd of people, but police officials weren't sent to help. Why? A police spokesperson said officers ultimately responded to a call of a person shot in the 3900 block of South Kenzie Avenue to document the incident and maintain safety and traffic control for all living and working in the area. We're here so that you can protest, Chicago Police Deputy Chief Gabriella Sheemash told protesters. Maybe they're just like so scared of, other gang members there that the gang members called the police have to just be like, hey, we're not trying to stop you from protesting.
I'm reading that the lady in question was named earlier weeks in Homeland Security reports.
So it's like weeks old?
No, this lady's she was on our radar.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Is what I'm saying. The quote unquote, she was on our radar. So her name's already been bounced around, I guess, for making threats and doxing ICE agents.
Good. They should be open and accountable.
But that's, I think, so it sounds like she's already, she knew what she was doing when she rammed.
Did you find out when it happened?
Yeah, this happened 5 hours ago.
The shooting happened 5 hours ago? Oh, sorry.
As CBS 5 hours ago, most recent update, 4 hours ago, 6 hours ago, 5 hours ago. I think it was today.
No, it must have been, earlier today, I guess. Because it said at the beginning that they met up at 10 a.m. and it went into late afternoon. It must have been today. Because, we didn't get, Riley got this story in, evening, and now we're here at the
Saturday afternoon.
Oh, okay. Wow. So the Chicago Police Department is not involved in the incident or its investigation. Federal authorities are investigating this shooting, the spokesperson said. Yeah, they don't want any of that smoke. ADL, I don't know what that means. Alderman, maybe, Julia Ramirez, whose 12th ward includes Brighton Park, said there has been pure escalation from federal agents on Saturday. She said community members feel that U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents are antagonizing protesters. Wow, interesting. So even this alderman or something like that, it says ALD. Julia Ramirez, is saying that the federal agents were the ones escalating and also antagonizing the protesters. She said, "It doesn't seem like things are calming down. We have seen immense anger from neighbors feeling like federal agents are provoking and wanting to incite violence on people who just care about keeping people safe." Like in New Hampshire, there's a lady. It's a little like, really? Like, you're only doing this now, but you've never seen like the stuff that the cop block people in New Hampshire have done to do very similar things for cops. You only care about it when you're protecting like immigrants. You don't care about it when you're protecting like your any other community member. But anyways, there's this lady from Nashua who's a hardcore Democrat, like horrible opinions in every other way you can imagine. But she's been doing this thing where her and other people are a part of like maybe it's like a texting group or something like that, where they alert each other when they hear about an ICE raid, and then they go and show up and film. I don't see anything wrong with that. They should be able to go film.
I think everyone should be aware that they can film the police and the federal agents when they're doing their jobs.
Yeah, at any time for any reason.
These freaks shouldn't feel like they have some kind of right to not be quote unquote doxxed. Like the police that just are normally in your towns and stuff, they have to give you their license or officer number and stuff like that.
Yeah, badge number.
There we go.
Name.
And you live with them. You live next to them. Your kids go to the same schools. You guys go to the same drive-thrus. Get your coffee at the same place.
But these masked agents that are afraid of quote-unquote being doxxed and people seeing their faces, that's a recipe for disaster. You shouldn't be quote-unquote policed by people who can do anything with impunity. I mean, it's bad enough that we obviously talk about it on Free Talk Live a lot, and we obviously know that the regular police in your towns, they have qualified immunity, and they basically are already there. But these ICE agents, this federal, military that's going against the regular person is clearly even less accountable. And they'll investigate you if you're quote-unquote doxing them. This shouldn't even be a thing. Everybody in the entire government, you should know their name and address. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I really think that if there's going to be a civil war, it's just going to be freak drone robocops who have given up their human card versus regular humans. I don't think it's going to be Alabama versus New Hampshire or whatever the heck. I mean, those states don't even make sense. They wouldn't be against each other. But, like in the Civil War movie, I don't think it's going to be any factions we think. It's not going to be right versus left. It's going to be goons who want to get you in line versus Americans. And we've always wondered, would they do it? Would they take those orders? Clearly they are, and they're called ICE agents. 603-283-6160.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Rising fees have made Bitcoin useless for purchases, but Dash continues to have fees less than 1 cent per transaction, and its features ensure Dash is undefeated as the most useful cryptocurrency in the marketplace. From a technical standpoint, Dash transactions are irreversible, and its network is protected from 51% attacks by their Chainlocks technology. There's no need to wait for a confirmation before considering a Dash transaction complete, so it's great for merchants. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol, and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use Dash. Start by learning more at Dash.org. Big thanks to the Dash DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit Dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FS.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the phone number here. And are you tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites? Our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Riley.
Angelo.
And I really think that we got everything we need to get out of this situation that we were reading in the last segment from WBEZ.org about the Chicago incident. But I think it is important that Americans pay attention to the fact that federal agents in states that didn't ask for them to be there are shooting Americans. It seems like the lady lived, but there's not really a straight answer here.
She's in critical condition.
Okay.
Drove herself to the hospital.
There's just a lot of people saying what they think about ICE being in Chicago and stuff like that, and all of these, the rest of the article. And it's pretty long, but I just don't know. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to say about it?
Before we move on, I do have to say that, the right should not let their political friends have the power they don't want their political enemies to have.
Well said.
We are facing a time when federal agents are going into your cities for the sake of what you think is good now, but maybe 4 years down the road or 3 years or whenever the pendulum swings, it's no longer good for you. Remember, you allowed this to happen first, and you didn't stop it because your favorite people were in power. So Before you think that this is a good thing.
Well, no, we didn't let it happen first. There were FBI agents arresting parents for wanting not to ideologize their kids. And
I think the
West
right did it
Virginia.
a little bit first with the
Patriot
Act.
I guess,
There we go.
the Patriot Act.
But yeah, I mean, both sides have been guilty of it, and the left also is like, hey, this is BS, when they would have been totally happy if Harris won and started, putting her feds into states. They wouldn't care. So there's no use talking to the left as if they have any kind of, sense, honestly, anymore.
Oh, no, they're just hypocrites. I mean, we're going to call out the right for being hypocritical is fine, but it's not like we're just not sitting in the room with two hypocrites, right, yelling at them for being hypocrites. They're both just going to do the same thing to each other over and over and over and over and over again.
And what about any of this stuff with the feds going into states? Screams conservative to you. If anything, to me, it seems like moving forward really fast in a horrible direction of federalizing the United States. Sorry.
Well, because that's, I think, well, that also, on the other hand, just to play devil's advocate, just a little bit for a second, I think where people are coming from, well, it's federalizing or it's federalization or balkanization.
Excellent.
Because, well, yeah, and but the feds aren't going to let go of that power that they have, the control that they have over seaboard to seaboard. Like that's
more so the more we let them have too.
Yeah, and we're just giving it away. But it really is like Texas and California, New Hampshire and California. We're living in such different realities to where we can't function together right now as it sits in the union. So now it's either we balkanize and we split up or we federalize. And it seems like the feds who have all the power have opted for the federalization.
It's like,
option.
how could anybody, and I don't mean talking to the politicians, they obviously don't care, but how could anybody think that it would be a nice life for us if we just use the feds, grow the feds, and force Californians to live under the same state as, what Donald Trump wants, and force people in Utah to live under the same laws the Californians want, stuff like that. It's just, how could anybody think that's a good idea? It's not going to work out. It's just so much better for us to just separate peacefully.
Yeah, but I don't think that, honestly, I just don't. I'm not advocating for any kind of violence, but the deeper we go, it seems like that's what's happening. If the federal agents are shooting people for protesting the federalization, and if people like Gavin Newsom are going to keep moving in the direction of not listening to the federal government, what happens when Trump has to send the Marine Corps to curtail the actions of the Californian National Guard, right?
When would he have to? He wouldn't have to.
I mean, if they got in the way of ICE agents.
I don't like the idea of making it sound like, they asked for it.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying they asked for it. I'm just saying that's just the line we're on. Is it feels like we're just getting more and more violent, regardless if we're going to split up or if we're going to stay together. I feel like the feds want violence so they can justify their actions.
But I don't think it's really anything that needs to be said to the average person. It's I don't think the average person wants violence or is doing violence. I honestly don't even know if I believe this woman was driving her car into a crowd of cops. I don't believe it. And then she just got away. Seriously, they'd kill her.
No, but they see the government as an end to the violence instead of a continuation of.
Maybe the right now.
Well, or like the average person sees the cops as you clean up my streets. That sounds like to your average mom, she wants her streets to be cleaner and safer.
Absolutely.
Like a suburbanite mom is going to support. They see the government
They want their
as a
kids
help.
to be able to play out in the street and come home at night.
And if that requires government, federalization, that's what they're gonna be okay with.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's stupid, and it's just, I don't really feel I have to get on Free Talk Live and talk to the lowest common denominator dumbass person. Oh, can I say that? I guess I can.
You can now.
No, it's not that. It's not. I can now. I'm saying I just realized it's not one of the 7 words.
Yeah, it's not one of the 7.
I don't even know what the 7 words are. I just try to talk like I'm talking to my great grandma for the most part.
There you go.
And if that's my little old 92-year-old Lutheran great grandma, and if she can hear it, you can hear it.
And there is one that involves ass that you can't say on the radio, but
does it include being stupid?
No. I'm not going to get into it, so we don't get too close to it. But it's one you wouldn't exactly suspect either out of all of them. Anyways, so yeah, you're not allowed to talk about like body parts if that helps. But anyways,
understandable.
Yeah. So anyways, so yeah, for a second I was like, wait, am I allowed to say that? But
yeah, I get it. I'm already there. Way
it's
ahead
the one
of
that they beeped the wrong part if you watch it on TV.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that
Two-part
always makes
word.
me laugh. And the other one is like that I'm not going to say, even if it's not technically not allowed. I just have a feeling that there would be, if anybody's listening on the radio, they would complain. But the other one is GD. Whenever they beep it, they beep the G part.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that one is like burned into my lexicon from my great grandfather. That was his favorite. His favorite one, and his wife would always yell at him.
Oh,
my
yeah, I
great
can see
grandma
him.
would really get on him, and
Yeah.
then he'd get in the truck, and he was a drill instructor for like 10 years. So it just was like, just he'd open his mouth, and it would just be like water.
That's funny. That one is like definitely funny when you hear like a funny person yelling it and everything, but
Oh, he was great. When he'd really lose it, especially the older he got, it'd be like a little old man, like screaming at the sky.
Oh my gosh.
About the price of a garden gnome.
oh my gosh. That would actually
I
happen.
miss him. Maybe not the price of it, but if I didn't put it in the right spot, sure.
Well, we have more to talk about. It's actually funny because I accidentally censored Riley. Oh, maybe that was last segment, not this one.
Yes, last segment you censored me.
Europe is trying to export censorship to America.
Oh, really?
That's a huge thing Europe has over there.
Oh, man,
yeah, they
this-
love their censorship
This
in
is
Europe
getting
for
me
sure.
into some deep stuff I was looking into about how a lot of this has just been a play to get. Well, it really is. It's just been a play to get the American people back under the control of the world banks, of the European banking system. And I think it's kind of like the OSS. It was all built by MI6.
Peakless Mountaineer had us kind of hoping a little bit ago, maybe like 2 years ago, that the banks in Europe were about to fall. Do you remember that, Riley?
I do remember that, but it hasn't happened, so.
Yeah, maybe they were like just actually consolidating, like shutting down like big, like, oh, this is a French bank. Maybe they're just shutting down those. They could consolidate into more of like World Bank. That'd actually be bad.
That sounds like they were probably just what is it? Those guys who buy businesses, strip them of all their assets and sell them off, and just generate wealth from doing that. It's kind of the same. Like we'll buy the bank, strip off all its assets, make it look like it's a failing bank, but we're really just moving all the wealth back into
Oh, I never heard that.
these
Sounds
other
like
accounts.
a good idea to make a bunch of money.
Well, especially if you are planning on doing a bunch of evil things.
Is it illegal? Like,
No,
Oh,
it's not. That's how like a place like TJ Maxx. It's different that Ross Sells their clothes off of like the damaged bin or whatever. Like, oh, this is a stitch wrong. We can't sell it at Macy's. It goes into the IR or like the damaged bin. Ross will buy that at a discount and put it in their stores. TJ Maxx, their business model is to buy out smaller businesses. So like think of like a boutique owned by like a wine mom or something fails. They'll come up, buy her little boutique out, all of her stock.
Wow.
And all of her warehouse stock, like everything she has like bought. And then they'll turn around, repackage it, and ship it to their stores to sell at a discount price.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah. So TJ Maxx, Sierra, Home Goods.
Sierra? Really?
Yeah, they're all owned by the same parent company. So their whole business model is buying out small businesses, stripping them of all of their assets, and liquidating their leftover stock into profit.
Interesting. Wow. I had heard something about
They make all their
TJ
money
Maxx
with
being-
credit cards.
That's
where the big business. TJ Maxx doesn't sell clothes and items; they sell credit cards to people
Imagine
who
having
are
a
addicted to
TJ Maxx,
shopping.
Yeah, credit card. That's awful.
They take a hit on all the clothes because they make the money back in their 30% marked up credit cards. And you're supposed to push them. Like you will get fired if you don't push
And it's
or
like
sell enough credit cards in a month. You get fired.
I
It's
can-
not just hanging up clothes; it's selling credit cards.
I can almost imagine having a Home Goods credit card because it's like you bought a couch there. Maybe you want to pay it off. I can't imagine having a TJ Maxx credit card. It's like you want to buy a bunch of the most short-lived clothes you ever bought.
Well, it's a TJX card. You can use it at any of the parent.
Then I could see it, I guess.
Yeah.
I had no idea Sierra was anything like that. I thought Sierra was like some New England.
No, Sierra's a new wing of the TJX brand.
Interesting.
I think Marshalls too.
Oh yeah, that definitely. Those feel like the same thing. I kind of forgot that existed.
Yeah, Marshall sells boy shoes. TJ Maxx sells girl shoes, and that's the only difference.
Wow, I would have thought they both have both.
Nope.
I don't.
I only know this because I worked for them for 2 weeks. Right when COVID hit, right after my grandpa died, I was like, well, my college is shut down and I'm stuck back home. What do men do? They get a job. So I was like, okay, TJ Maxx. And I was like 2 weeks in, I was like, I'm jumping off the roof if I stay here any longer.
Marshalls was one
really that bad?
Oh my God. Well, I just came from like playing college football into like, and I was living in a totally different world. The next thing you know,
anything retail is that bad.
Well, and then I'm getting yelled at by some 5'3" circle of a woman with green hair about how this tag isn't exactly how it needs to be on this lapel. And I'm like, I can't. Get me out of here. Get me out of here right now.
I can understand how that'd be a tough job with someone yelling at you neurotically about a tag.
Yeah, anything with where you have to deal with the people and they know that like your job is on the line if you're rude to me is the worst. Like,
oh yeah,
I could not do a hotel job like I did for many years. The only reason I only did it on military bases is because they pay you more. I was like looking for the same job, front desk at a hotel, on not military bases, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we started $9 an hour." I'd be like, "Not worth that. What are you even talking about?" Even in 2019, that was not worth it. Like it's like. Back in 2019, it was like, I won't do it for any less than like $12 an hour, but it's great if you make more. I made more in Utah, and then you came to Texas, and it's just like, I guess money goes further. Anyways, all I was saying is, yeah, I hate working for the people. And I couldn't be a waitress because it was just like, I don't think they were worse than the people in the hotel. It was just like, you're getting asked for so many things at once is like making you dizzy, which also happens at a hotel, but with a bunch of people all at once. Maybe it was just too many people.
It was like right when the masks were coming in, and they were always trying to get on me about like over the nose, and like it's right when everybody's freaking out about it. I was like, you know what, dude, I cannot
work anywhere indoors during that time.
I don't need it. I just went and worked at a lake resort as a 20-year-old, which was way more fun and like in.
Oh, I'm sure it was
in line. Yeah, and I just didn't wear a mask. I'd have a bunch of like we were one of the only places open, and Californians were coming by the droves, and they'd all
I'm sure
tell me
to
put my mask on, and I'd be like, make me.
Yeah, it's just nice that there are people standing up for the tyranny from the COVID days.
I was like, we're in the woods, buddy. I'm in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, you're outside.
And the only reason you're in here is because I'm open. So like,
wait, you're gonna get with customers were telling you to wear a mask.
Yeah,
that's
and I was
ridiculous.
telling them to get out.
But don't they know why they're coming from California?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's I'm not here to placate to your fantasies.
That's ridiculous.
I'm here to make sure you get to your campsite.
But yeah, Marshalls was one of the things that right when it opened, I actually stood in a line to go into it. It opened back up, during 2020 in San Antonio, because it just felt like normal life is back. But I could totally see that being that's what I'm saying, like, I could see it being awful during 2020.
It was terrible.
People stood in a line to get there, and people, there's always stories online about TJ Maxx, Marshalls, any of those things, Home Goods, people fighting over like a certain item. Like last year there were these like beaded bags with like crawfish on them for some reason, were like really popular. I thought they were cute, but not fight over them with a lady for the last one cute. And there was like maybe a year or 2 years ago, Hello Kitty items that were coming out that people were fighting over, physically fighting. I don't really think that stuff happens in New Hampshire, to be honest with you. Like, I've never heard of it. Never
maybe in like
seen it.
Nashua. Nashua's just turning into Boston North, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
maybe.
another Boston suburb. It's not really like its own.
Maybe it happens there. Maybe it happens in Manchester. I kind of forget their New Hampshire.
Yeah, everything else is so. Well, Laconia Franklin just had like 30 people arrested in like a fentanyl ring.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
And it's like really small. Franklin and Tilton are like really tiny communities.
Were they from there?
I think so, yeah. It looked like bunch of like regular run-of-the-mill white tweakers on the ground in the pictures.
Oh wow,
interesting.
But I guess they were tied to the Sinaloa cartel. It said in the story.
A friend of mine, there were white tweakers tied to the Sinaloa clan.
Yeah, the Sinaloa cartel. I guess
Like
they were
clan.
coming from like Lawrence. It was all tied to like Lawrence shipments, and they busted. It said 27 arrests, and this was like earlier in August, I think, like a month or two ago.
A friend of mine that delivers in the same thing that you use, delivers around the Laconia area, and he said it was the first time he ever realized that there is actually like ghetto, gross parts of the Lakes region, is because he had to deliver medicine. So
Yeah, you think it's nice, and then you look at it, as soon as you get off like the main little rotunda right there. It's hood, it's ghetto,
interesting,
low income white trash. Not to hate on anybody, I think it's really pretty there, and the people are decent enough. But once you get out, you're like, wow, this place isn't as.
Like you think of
it'd
it
be
like
way
it's all
richer.
like Wolfboro. Like you think of it all.
Yeah,
like
you think
that,
it's all like mass people coming up to their vacation homes, which a lot of the houses on the water are that.
Mhm.
But then those are only in there, 3 months out of the year. There's somebody there, and then so you get into like the actual housing around the town. It's like
Yeah, I don't know how
the
many-
locals have it rough.
I think people in warm states just have no idea this weird breed of people that are like this white trash that is like wearing shorts in the winter.
It's because they only see them during they're the dock worker. I was the white trash guy that lived at where the lake was.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked at the campground, and I was the
Dock
white trash
worker. Oh,
guy,
that's
not
what you
wearing my mask, and all these Californians would come in, and I was the local that they didn't have to see for 6-7 months out of the year.
So they could treat you terribly.
Oh, dude, they treat us like garbo, dude.
I
Dinks are
bet
the
they
worst.
did. Oh my goodness.
You don't even have to be like white trash for somebody to just be like, oh, I see the job that you're doing right now relies on me liking you or not.
Yeah.
And especially like in like a hotel, it's like you get asked to leave a review constantly. Like you'll get into your room and there's like a piece of paper that says like, leave us a review.
Yeah. I had
it's
luckily my boss was a vicious Chinese lady, named Esther. Shout out Esther. She was a great boss, but she was vicious to these people. She didn't bend the knee at all.
Awesome.
She'd be like, no refund, goodbye.
Awesome.
Get out my resort. And I'm like, oh, Esther, I love you.
I loved any boss that like will stand up for the employee.
Oh, and she was like a little 5'1". I'm a big 6'4", 300-pound guy, and I'd be like, just wait till I get my Chinese boss on you, dude. She's gonna rip you a new one. She'll get you out of here.
That's hilarious. Well, I want to talk about Europe trying to export censorship to America. It says the Digital Services Act may compel social media platforms to suppress speech in the U.S. Oh, we just got over it with the Biden administration. Is this all just fake? Have you guys seen that the Twitter, I think it was, in YouTube came out and admitted, well, Twitter a long time ago because of the Matt Taibbi things he uncovered showing that Twitter definitely worked with the Biden administration to censor people, but YouTube recently came out and admitted they were doing that, and they were like, oh, we don't want to be doing that anymore. We're going to put in our policy not to be censoring. Do you think they're all just pretending to kiss butt right now so that way they can...
Oh, yeah.
Well,
they can just be like,
Alex,
Europe made us.
Alex Jones and, oh man, what's his name? The Nazi Mexican fellow, Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
So Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones both independently made brand new YouTube channels, and they already had I think Alex was like 1 million followers before, so they didn't let him have them up for more than 12 hours.
Yeah, I heard that they rolled it back saying, oh, well, we weren't ready to go that far yet or something, but they're still trying to kiss
so what
butt
it is
and
you
say
can
that they're...
apply. You can apply to maybe get reinstated if we pulled you for quote unquote COVID misinformation or election denying.
Interesting. Yeah, it feels like they're just gonna be like, well, it's not our fault. Europe made us suppress speech in the U.S., so let's see. Picture of this woman here. This is from WallStreetJournal.com, by the way. It says, European Commission Executive Vice President for Tech Sovereignty, Security and Democracy, Henna Virkkunen, speaks about the DSA in France, and the DSA is the Digital Services Act. Free speech in the U.S. has enemies foreign and domestic. One of the most fearsome is the European Union, whose Digital Services Act constitutes a remarkable assertion of authority to censor online speech, including in America. Weren't they trying to do that in England recently? Oh, no, they were doing it to the English, and Americans were using VPNs to mess them up. They were using VPN saying that they're in England in order to do something that's against the rules, so that way the cops are looking for no one because no one actually existed, and messing them up.
And then I think the British said something about we'll come and pick you up in America to try you. And it was like, dude.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Not in America.
Well, you want to
those cops talk about,
at least not yet anyway.
Talk about a federalized U.S. I don't think, we might be super corrupt, but I don't think we're at the point where we're going to let British police, maybe IDF soldiers, but not British police.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, good thing the Israeli government isn't trying to suppress speech online.
Yeah, it's not like they have a bunch of people buying it's not like they're paying people $7,000 per social media post.
Oh, wait, they are suppressing speech, aren't they?
Yeah, you can't even use the juice box emoji on TikTok anymore.
Well, they just bought TikTok. Larry Ellison they just finalized that TikTok deal. So now
he's Israeli?
He's a huge Zionist.
But is he Israeli? Is that where he lives?
I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
But I know he's huge. Him and Tony Blair are huge Netanyahu supporters.
Yep. No.
I think
makes sense.
I know their family. I know part of their family lives there. And they're super tied in ties with them. But so what they're doing now is you're going to have a TikTok that, like China, so the Chinese TikTok is different because the Chinese TikTok is on its own servers, right? Not the worldwide TikTok. So now we're going to do the same thing in America. You're only going to see American TikTok. You're not going to see the world's TikTok, and it's all going to be ran through a filter through Larry Ellison and Tony Blair and Oracle and AIPAC, and this is through an Israeli lens.
That's gross. I was saying I wish that we could sometimes turn on America only on social media, but I didn't mean not be allowed to look at anyone else.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. You're going to have to delete your TikTok and download the US version.
That is entirely scary.
603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live.
In a survey, nearly 100% of boys ages 12 to 15 report that they have sex all the time and are definitely not virgins. Teens say they've gone all the way on numerous occasions, including vaginal sex, oral sex, and regular sex orgies.
Previous studies suggested that most boys lose their virginity at 16 or 17. But when we gathered 13-year-olds in a room and asked them if they'd had sex, they not only said yes, but they also were clear that sex was no big deal for them, that they weren't nervous before having it, and that when they do have sex, they do it for hours at a time.
And you discovered that these young teenagers have sex with nearly every attractive woman they know, including their babysitters, teachers, and even Hollywood celebrities.
10% of boys in junior high school say they received a blowjob from Katy Perry while they were on vacation in Los Angeles.
And what about teenage girls? Did your study find out anything new about their sexual habits?
We didn't talk to any teenage girls. The boys we surveyed told us not to because they'd probably just lie and deny it.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. American music mogul Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, was sentenced to more than 4 years in jail on prostitution charges in New York on Friday. Diddy was found guilty of the crimes in July, which relate to incidents the 55-year-old arranged called freak-offs at hotels across America. FSN's Mitch McCann has more from New York.
On Friday, prosecutors told the judge that Combs should receive a sentence of 135 months in jail, more than 11 years, and argued that he lacked remorse. They asked the judge to consider the long-term effects on the women involved. Lawyers for Combs argued he had learned his lesson. One defence attorney became tearful, telling the court that Combs is now clear-headed, determined, focused and remorseful. Addressing the court himself, Sean Combs described his behaviour as disgusting, shameful and sick. He said because of his decisions, he lost his freedom and the opportunity to be there for his mother and his children. Eventually, the judge sentenced Combs to 50 months and also imposed a $500,000 fine. In his address, the judge said a history of good works can't wash away the record in this case, which shows you abuse the power and control over the lives of women who you profess to love.
The U.S. government shut down for the first time in almost 7 years after members of Congress failed to agree a last-ditch funding deal. FSN's Charlotte North has more from Washington.
Efforts in the Senate to keep the government funded fell short late on Tuesday despite frenetic negotiations. House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke this morning after funding was cut off.
At midnight, the Democrats followed through on their threat to shut down the United States government. As we speak here this morning, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers who are getting their furlough notices.
The way forward is unclear as both sides have blamed the other for the shutdown. The White House is telling agencies to prepare plans for mass firings.
Those were some of the week's top stories.
A harrowing situation on Broad Street came to its conclusion Thursday night as a group of hostages were freed from local comedy club The Laugh Up Lounge after a tense 7-minute stand-up set.
Every once in a while he'd grab his notebook and I'd think maybe this is it. Maybe he's going to let us go. But he just kept talking.
Additionally, The Onion recovered this video footage from the cell phone of one of the many captives.
Please, if someone sees this, help us.
Please help.
Yeah, micromanagement. You guys are totally gonna wang it out.
Oh my God. Oh my God, no.
Cool.
I'm not a religious person, but at one point I said the Lord's Prayer, and it actually had a calming effect. Like Jesus was standing next to me and said, "You're gonna get through this."
I mean, sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, don't take life for granted, because you just never know when something like this could happen. So,
This is the Onion News Network.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 is the number to call in to bring up whatever is on your mind. And with you on Free Talk Live, if you don't call in, you'll only get to hear me, Bonnie,
Riley,
and Angelo.
and
we'll try and keep you entertained, but we'd love to hear from you.
we really would. We don't want to censor you. We're the only radio show that doesn't want to censor you, because even if other people have a call-in part, they'll have somebody
screening your call, wanting to know all kinds of information. We don't have a screener here.
Yeah, banning you. I mean, I might screen your call on a break to see who it is and be ready, but there's no screen your call and say, no, you don't get to talk about that, and then hang up. I even answer Skeeter's calls every single time. It's just like, if he's being extremely boring, I'm going to hang up on him. So anyways, if you're not Skeeter, because he already called in tonight, 603-283-6160. And in the last segment, we just brought up this article from the Wall Street Journal. Europe tries to export censorship to America. Of course they are, because they love censorship so much over there. It's this act they might enact called the Digital Services Act. Free speech in the U.S. has enemies, foreign and domestic. One of the most fearsome is the European Union, whose Digital Services Act constitutes a remarkable assertion of authority to censor online speech, including in America. At a House Judiciary Committee hearing on September 3rd, no lawmakers seemed to relish the idea of bowing to Brussels, but thwarting the DSA's international ambitions will require vigilance. Things have reached a crisis point, Lorcan Price, a lawyer for the Alliance Defending Freedom, told the committee. He cited a June German police raid that targeted, among others, a journalist who posted a satirical, photoshopped image of an official holding a sign reading, "I hate free speech." Wow, way to prove it. Way to make the meme happen.
Yep.
Become the meme.
Well, that's the play. The play is to manage you like cattle and extract you for your ability to make them money and then toss you aside. It's not about your what you want and your personal wants, needs, or desires. It's about how much it's like a perverted. It's connected like Skeeter's idea of how much profit can you make, and that qualifies your worth. But then they add so much ugliness on top of it. It's really just what the powers that be are pushing for a system that's just it's anti-human.
Yeah, and that's why it's just disgusting that Skeeter thinks that like the greatest good is just like making the most worth of this random degree that he, or type that he declares that evolution wants, because evolution can't speak except through Skeeter. That's a previous caller, so I'm not even gonna. I'm like, it's still the ramblings of a madman. So,
but it still feels like it almost feels like you only have like your personhood is tied to how much you can produce in this, how much you can produce and not make noise, I guess. Like you can't
in this system with the
with
UN,
like hyper, yeah, with hyper
the UN, the EU.
Yeah, the EU, hyper censorship, hyper surveillance, like V for Vendetta levels of of tracking of people's movements and
There was
ideas.
this video going everywhere recently in England, I think it was. There were these two cops that came to somebody's door to talk to somebody's little brother who had liked a social media post. I don't remember what it was.
So one guy got
over liking a social media post? That's crazy.
One guy got arrested for saying F Hamas.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy because they arrested him for saying it can incite racial violence.
How is that racial? Hamas is like a group of...
According to that's what is anything? It's whatever the state deems.
Yeah, exactly.
Deems,
it's whatever the kings say it is. It's whatever the authorities say it is. It's whatever the experts say it is.
Because all the
You
laws
listen
are
to
written
the
in such a gray tone that they can enforce it to whoever, whenever they want. As soon as they deem the speech to be troublesome, they can excommunicado.
It's like open air prison, basically, because you can... Now it's like... It's not like you're breaking laws anymore. You're getting written up. Because there's not like a actual... They don't even have to have an actual law that makes sense and that you agreed to. You're
It's
just
like
in
going to
prison.
the principal's office.
Yep.
It's like in a
School's prison.
panopticon. Well, yeah, but you're going to the principal's office as a 40-year-old man because of your Twitter post.
Or liking someone else's Twitter post. That's crazy.
But that's what would happen to you in high school. Do you remember when kids get in trouble for, maybe, Riley, are you too old for this one?
Go for it. Tell us.
Just like when kids would be sharing around a video or pictures of something that happened, like a fight. Like you get in trouble for filming the fight at school. And then you get called into school, like the principal's office, and then... Oh, you have this social media post. Like, here's your detention slip.
You could get called into the principal's office as somebody else was talking about you and making a claim about you. Like, it's the same, exactly what I'm saying. Like, write-ups don't have to have any, like, law backing it. You know, you don't get a court in the principal's office. So that's exactly what I'm saying.
So I'm a little too old for social media coming on the scene when I was in high school. I graduated in 2004, so we didn't have Facebook and things like that. But MySpace was coming online. We did have internet chat rooms. We had MSN Messenger and things like that.
AOL.
Yeah. But I didn't participate in any of those things because we didn't have internet at my house unless I wanted to use my dad's computer.
Yeah.
So I don't relate to people filming a fight or, things like that, but I'm sure there was the equivalent to that back in my day.
Or just like a trash talk post.
Oh, yeah.
Like you just got on your MySpace page and said, I think Caroline is so blah, 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 blah. And then you get pulled into the office because Carolyn's mom called and she's been crying all night.
It's just ridiculous. Something happened off campus and somebody could get in trouble for it. Never happened to me, I don't think. Something like happening off campus, but definitely heard about it.
When I was in school, people were getting in trouble for stuff off campus all the time.
It's crazy. It's like they think they own you.
People
they practically did. They would act like they did.
Yeah.
And they would get so mad when the parent would come in and just be like, I don't care. Because it would be like, oh, we're going to call your mom. And the mom was just like, it's Facebook, dude. Turn your phone off. Like,
yeah, the stuff that happens on the internet is also ridiculous. It's like, well, if your kid can't handle being on the internet, that's one thing. Also, people, like, I understand wanting people to parent their kids and not letting their kids just be bullies, but it's not like you have some kind of, like, right to never see anything that offends you on the internet at the same time. There's, like, a balance there.
Yeah.
And also, like, where does the principal come in to play at that at all? It's like, focus on teaching.
Well, that comes back to maybe your kid wouldn't be in such a malicious environment if the government didn't force them to be there.
Yeah.
Maybe if they were getting picked on relentlessly, you could, if you were allowed to remove them from that type of environment.
Yeah, there's always this like sayings spread around. And Ian used to say, I don't know if it's necessarily up to date or actually from a study, but it's that the average American experiences violence only in public school in their life.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, my grandma, when she bounced around with my great grandparents, and she said the first time she ever saw like real violence was as soon as she got enrolled into a Sacramento public school.
Yeah.
When they moved there, because my great grandpa was in the Air Force. So as soon as they got to like an inner city high school, she said it was like the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to her. She was watching like women get cheese grated on lockers, like their faces, and just levels of violence that she didn't even think were real. And to go into that and be seeing that as a 14-year-old, little girl, was really messed her up.
It's just a bunch of people being forced to go into a place, no matter what their background is. They have no commonality, and just being forced to go into a place because the the people running the show, the principals, get paid based on how many butts are in seats.
And the Prussian way of school teaching is to build soldiers, not thinkers. That's
and
why
factory workers, people who follow orders.
Yeah, they want order. They want order takers, and that's why the Prussia needed soldiers to beat Napoleon. So they started making their schools into soldier factories, and that line of school, like that thought process of how school should work, migrated to the Americas, and it went from one-room schoolhouses into essentially prisons.
So, as far as this thing happening in Europe and potentially affecting the United States, there was that German police raid that targeted a journalist who posted a photoshopped image of an official holding a sign that said, "I hate free speech." And this spokesperson from Alliance Defending Freedom said that they're bringing that restrictive model. Oh, okay. This new EU law, this new act, Digital Services Act, is bringing that restrictive model global. The DSA was enacted in 2022. Okay, so it already exists. And most of its provisions came into full force in February 2024. The EU was still adding obligations this summer. Like many EU laws, the DSA crafts a regulatory floor out of the 27 member states' statutes, in this case, online service regulations. Among other things, the DSA compels platforms with more than 45 million users a month to remove illegal expression. But what's illegal in one EU nation isn't necessarily illegal in another. It can be unlawful to insult a politician in Germany. Wow. But perfectly acceptable in Ireland. The DSA focuses on where content is seen, not the location of the poster or platform. Whoa, so that's why the English guy who liked to post got in trouble, because it focuses on who's looking at it.
It just seems like the effort to create more censorship online is just going to create more bureaucracy, more government bureaucracy, unless they can use AI to control it all or manage it all.
But the AI is the bureaucracy. It's going to be an unfeeling, uncaring. It's gonna analyze you as a data point.
That makes sense.
And move on. It doesn't see you as a human being. It sees you as data that needs to be analyzed and threat assessed.
Yeah, maybe that's why AI has been seeming so unimpressive to me recently. It's just basically a bureaucrat.
It is a bureaucrat. It's a combination of all the bureaucrats into one.
But
that's
somehow
why it
if a
lies
bureaucrat
and cheats and steals.
Automatically knew all the laws off the top of his head instead of having to pull it up for you.
Yeah, so instead you can get shot by a drone that's waiting for you to jaywalk, instead of waiting for somebody to send you a bill in the mail from a camera that caught you jaywalking. You can just get tasered right there, right now.
Yeah, well,
Sarah, it catches you.
I wonder what Sarah would think about that if we just had drones shooting people that not jaywalk because she's pro, walkers, but what are they called? Pedestrians, but
they're going
shoot
for
people
like
that
Judge
speed
Dredd
through red lights or whatever.
They want a Judge Dredd that's a robot. They want a judge, jury, and executioner right there that's watching everybody at all times.
Magnets. We need really, really powerful magnets.
That might work too.
EMPs. Where's the sun when you need it? Where is the world-ending EMP from the sun?
Allegedly 2039.
Yeah, but they said it was going to happen in 2019 and like 2012.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It just always keeps moving.
Actually following any.
The goalposts.
I don't actually
just
follow
like the
any of these
rapture
people, but
are moving the goalposts.
I know one friend is donating to and going to the premiere of this big documentary in Colorado, and it's in Colorado for a reason because they think like most of America will be underwater when this happens, and I'm going to watch it to see where he's coming from, but I'll pay attention to if it's just a indoctrination into this idea, but he really believes it, and he's not a dummy. He's a pharmacist. So
yeah, but
I'm getting
there's
scared about it.
Flat earthers that are physicians.
I don't necessarily think being a flat earther is like, oh, you just, I immediately write you off because I've seen,
some of
this
it's pretty
person,
compelling.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this person making the point, and I'm like, whoa, I see their side. Then the next side makes their point. I'm like, now I see their side. Like, I haven't really seen a smoking gun. Okay, this isn't flat Earth related, but somebody told me recently that it's we didn't go to the moon related. I already don't believe we went to the moon, but I'm just saying if they're willing to fake that, what else are they willing to fake? And so obviously they said that we took human beings to the moon, right? Well, apparently modern day NASA, you can find videos where modern day NASA is talking about the problem of not being able to get human beings through the Van Allen belt and how nobody's ever been able to do it before. And people are just like, what are you talking about? Didn't you have to go through the Van Allen belt to get to the moon? And they just don't answer because they don't have to.
Interesting. I haven't seen these videos or heard them yet, so I can't comment.
No, the Van
on
Allen radiation belt's like a really big. That's what really sends me for a loop. Is like, well, then if we can't get through it now,
exactly.
Did we ever get through it? Period. Like, why were computers that would fill this entire house able to figure out how to get out and we can't?
Yeah, exactly. Or just like, shouldn't we? If we've done it before, does anybody remember how you did it?
Yeah,
why isn't it even being brought
that
up?
one lady that was championed as being the linchpin to all the math? That the African American lady that they always say we wouldn't have went to the moon without her. Where's she at? Why can't she help us get back?
That's a good question.
Never heard of her. So, yeah, it seems like they're really making an open air prison, or one might say an open air government school in the EU right now. So, and they're trying to make it to where the law, the way that it's written, where it's the thing that's illegal is where it's being seen. It effectively makes the strictest European law that could apply to any piece of content binding on a platform, even if it's an American that posted it. It's possible geo-blocking, hiding content from users with European IP addresses, would satisfy the EU. But that's awful. It's like basically making us keep ourselves but like the Chinese firewall. It's like making us give ourselves our own Chinese firewall. We don't see or hear from other countries. That seems like.
But
a bad
that's what
idea.
they want. Why they don't want to see? They don't want you to see the unrest in other parts of the world. Like, how much would we actually know about the French riots in the past few years? Like how the firefighters riot with the French if it wasn't for things like social media and us having access to this global perspective.
We wouldn't know much about it at all unless
or would we know anything about the Nigerian Christians that are getting murdered in Nigeria right now?
Yeah,
which is a big thing. I guess they're renting extremists are renting weapons from the Nigerian government to go slaughter Christians in Nigeria, but we wouldn't even know about it.
We'll just rely on the journalists for all the big newspapers. That'll be fine. They'll do it.
The vetted journalists.
Yeah, they'll do it. They'll make sure we know everything important.
Yeah. So I just see it as, but that's the end goal. I think if you would have listened to these people in 2010, they were championing China. And they were all gung ho about China's management system. They all talked about how much they liked how China treated their citizens.
You mean
these EU leaders? These EU leaders, yeah, the firewall.
The EU was.
Yeah, the EU leaders were like, "Hey, man, we kind of like." I know Trudeau in Canada has been on the record saying he admires, he likes the Chinese. The way they manage their population. He says we need to move towards that, and he's considered a WEF young leader, like a rising star for the World Economic Forum. So like all these people are in on it.
Oh, but the World Economic Forum is just a conspiracy, Angelo. Don't you know?
It's all a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy to strip you of your humanity and your rights and your ability to make your own decision.
But
it is a conspiracy.
They care about the poor. How can you claim they want to strip you of your rights if they care about the poor so much?
They don't.
The key is they don't care about the poor.
I don't think they say they be wary of somebody who says that they love humanity but hate people, right? Because then at the end of the day, they don't.
Oh, yeah.
They don't. They're probably the most malicious in the room.
And they're probably the most hypocritical too.
And the most hypocritical.
Haven't they openly said that there needs to be like smaller population?
Yeah, Bill Gates has. Yeah, for sure.
He's WEF?
Yeah, they all. Yeah.
Well, they're saying that the geo-blocking idea that might satisfy the EU is expensive and risky for platforms, given the DSA's draconian penalties. Geo-blocking is easy to dodge, requiring only a virtual private network. Oh, I see. So the Europeans could use a VPN and then view something an American posted, and then the platform could be in trouble anyway.
So this is how they're doing it. They're not going to go after individuals.
Yeah.
They're just going to find the platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Millions of dollars to make it economically impossible. Well, that's just
Unless
fascism.
they crack down on their own users.
That is just the government using its political power.
Yep.
It's getting in bed with the tech companies. That's the joining. That is Benito Mussolini's, the father of fascism. That is his base definition. It is the joining of corporation and state.
It's funny because the leftists who hate fascism, they were all for Twitter not allowing you to say things they didn't like about masks and stuff like that.
They're all for that, and they're all for, having you show some papers to get into places to make sure you had the proper injection into your body.
And they're so pissed if you say something they don't like on X today, they'll go out to Blue Sky.
Yep.
It's a new Twitter that's woke.
Yeah. Well, they're making parallel economies, echo chambers. It's hyper. I hate using the word hyper so much, but that's what it feels. Everything is on an accelerated path.
Like we were talking about with the Terence McKenna theory of new novelty.
Like time moving faster.
Not moving faster, but novelty. Like as we get closer to the middle of the spiral, things just have to get crazier at a exponential rate.
Yeah, I guess the word I'm looking for is hyper isolation. Mm-hmm. They want you in your box eating your bugs and owning nothing and being happy. It literally all comes back down to you're gonna sleep in the pod, eat the bugs, and shut up about it.
If you talk to anybody that you're allowed to talk to at all, they all have the same opinions as you. None of them want to.
And if you get
free.
upset about it, you get unpersoned. Yep. You just get removed from the playground. If you say, hey, these things aren't right, something isn't right here, fellas.
Apparently you can't make fun of politicians in Germany right now. Like, do you need actually anything else to show you that this is actually happening?
No. It's the same thing that the Communist Party did in Russia when you went against the party and they claimed that it was somehow kind of some mental deficiency. That you're somehow crazy. Oh, he's lost it. He's gone against the party. We have to take him to an asylum. He's not mentally well.
Wow.
He's talking about how we're killing people. Of course we're not killing people. Don't believe your eyes and ears. Believe us, the party, this controlling apparatus that dictates your reality. And that's where we're at. Especially, I see it a lot with leftists, and it's starting to take over the right with this idea that whatever the party line is, what reality is, whatever the talking point is truth.
One of my friends and I were talking last night about how the world is so divided. We talked about how back in he's about my age, so back in our parents' day, when they were born in the 50s. Back in their day, media was very small, and one narrative could permeate things. Now there are thousands of narratives.
Yeah, there are people that will say things like, I witnessed the moon landing because they saw it on TV. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. Call in and bring up whatever's on your mind. More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs.
As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond these parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
Love as your guide.
And liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. The U.S. and Israel agreed on a plan to end the war in Gaza, warning Hamas that if it doesn't accept it, Israel has the blessing of the U.S. to completely destroy the terrorist organization. The announcement followed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to President Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Later in the week, the Palestinian militant group said it accepted some aspects of the plan. However, it's unclear whether Israel will accept Hamas's remaining conditions. FSN's Tony Waterman has more from Washington.
There is a lot of growing pressure for this war to come to an end. We saw all of these countries come together in New York City just last week for the UN General Assembly. More than 80% of the UN's 193 member states now recognize an independent Palestine. So there's a lot of momentum, but certainly there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well to come to the negotiating table so that this war can come to an end, both within Gaza itself. I mean, there's a humanitarian crisis. You can place blame wherever you'd like, but that is the bottom line. There is a humanitarian crisis taking place. People are starving. Children are dying. So there's a lot of pressure on Hamas as well. And so this seems to be sort of this inflection point that this is the most hope that a lot of people have seen, that there can be a somewhat lasting solution, at least to this particular conflict. It's unclear whether that would actually happen. And again, there is this off-ramp for Israel that it can continue its mission inside of Gaza if there is some sort of reneging on this proposal at the hands of Hamas.
2 people died and 3 others were seriously injured in an attack outside a synagogue in Manchester in northwest England. The attack came on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, and led to security being stepped up outside prominent synagogues in the UK. FSN's John Beaver reports.
At just after 9:30 on Thursday morning, police were called to reports of a man deliberately driving into pedestrians outside a synagogue in Manchester. He then used a knife to attack others. Eyewitnesses describe how he tried to get into the synagogue before being shot dead by police just 7 minutes after they were first called. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer cut short a meeting in Denmark to return to the UK to chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
Jane Goodall, the groundbreaking primatologist who changed the way the world understood chimpanzees and inspired generations of conservationists, died at the age of 91. Her institute confirmed that she passed away while on a speaking tour in Los Angeles. From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FS.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. The point of Free Talk Live is for people to be able to call in and bring up whatever is on their mind without being censored. And we're talking about censorship from Europe being exported into America tonight on the show. And with you on the show tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
Riley.
Angelo.
And in the last segment, we were talking about this whole idea that the EU, they have this 2022 law called the Digital Services Act, and they've been knocking down people's doors over things like political memes, making fun of politicians. Poor politician got his feelings hurt.
I know, those poor politicians.
I can't believe someone said that he hates free speech. He has to knock down their door for saying that.
Can't you think of their children?
Can't you think of these workers' children?
I doubt that these politicians care that much about their children.
I don't think they care about children. I think they care about attention and clout.
Money.
It all comes back to the money and control.
Yeah, control. That's important because I think a lot of people like to say, "Oh, it's all about money," and I'm just like,
money buys you control. That's why they're buying land. That's why Bill Gates buys land.
Like, you have enough money. Like Bill Gates has enough money. He doesn't get up every day and go do things for more money. He doesn't need any more. He does it for control. Yeah, and land is a great point. And yeah, Bill Gates buys land, like tons and tons of farmland, stuff like that. We do have a caller on the line, so I think we should go to the calls before getting back into this subject. I'm not sure who it is, so unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, are you there?
Yep, you got to turn the radio off in the background.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Let me turn that down. This program that you're on, you're all having an open discussion. The question I have is in respect to everything you've said earlier today that we're heading towards a totalitarian type of government.
This call will be recorded.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure. A totalitarian.
Right. Have you all studied anything about when Franklin had pondered on the back of the president's sun-rising chair, where he plus other brothers of old pondered, was the sun rising on the nation or was the sun setting? In our day, it seems to be the opposite. The sun has setted. They came to a clear conclusion that the sun was rising on the nation in its infant stages. We seem to be in the end stages of the end of our constitutional republic.
It sure feels that way.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're seeing our last president.
Well, there was a maybe prophetic book called The Last President that a lot of people think was about Trump with the main character named Barron.
Uh-huh.
Yep, it was called The Last President.
Interesting.
And did it just have draw parallels to the way the world is now? Is it?
There were multiple. It was a time traveler named Barron, and I'm pretty sure that his somebody in his life was named Trump as well, and it was called The Last President. I don't remember anything else about it.
Does life mimic art, or does art mimic life?
Yep.
Let me ask you this. When Washington was shot multiple times and never saw death, and he was unscathed, they used to call him the bulletproof George Washington. We see him beginning, and then we see Trump was shot multiple times in our day. It's strange ironies that seem to be lining up with a lot of strange things that have been happening. And it just seems to be that when we began as a nation, there's no question about it. We see, a lot of people would say, well, you can't say that in our day because it seems to be that if you say that you're not conservative, or let's say just a left or right, let's just say, what if you want to be a constitutionalist and state on what the Constitution says, that for all the things that have been going on, it seems like we're being removed from the fundamentals of the Constitution, like with the military soldiers that are coming into our cities. I couldn't agree with you more that here people are agreeing with it, and yet 3 years down the road, they're going to be like, boy, we wish we would have done something about it.
Yep, I agree. Yep, both sides probably will regret letting the feds come into the states and gain more and more and more power.
And that power, once you lose, once the people lose the ability to basically peacefully dealing with the First Amendment, I'm referring to the freedom of speech. That seems to be, if they can attack our freedom of speech, and we saw that with some of the things like Jimmy Kimmel, and you tell me, what do you all are seeing? It seems like, from what I've been listening, that you seem to see that a lot of the stuff that's happening, and we're losing our freedom, liberty, and rights, you would say, to a degree, to where next thing you know it, we're like in a civil war right now, and people don't even see it.
What I will say is I believe that the world right now is swinging a hard right, a more authoritarian right, because the left have become so crazy. And eventually the pendulum's going to swing back again, and it's going to be the authoritarian left. I don't know when that's going to be or if that's going to be soon, but it sure seems that way.
And it's going to be in the wake, I fear, it's going to be in the wake of a lot of violence. Yeah. Regardless of which way it's swinging, it's going to be hitting a lot of bodies on its way.
It seems to be with ever since after the Charlie Kirk assassination had taken place, all of a sudden we're seeing like every, I don't know, you could put it together. It seems like we're turning around and we're seeing all this violence, or it's being, manipulated. I don't know.
Yeah, how do we know these aren't all false flags in order for us to agree with more censorship against the left?
Right. Even what we're discussing right now is being monitored, you would say, on the radio.
Well, yeah, I would like the FCC for sure. Like, if we say bad words, we'll get yanked.
Our stations will get fined.
With that, but even, you say, we're just heading really towards a very, very dangerous, I would have to say, the climate in America is definitely, when it comes to politics and religion, we are losing what our forefathers stood for and what they gave to us, that we should be cherishing and doing everything possible in each one of our ability to go out there and make a difference in sowing the seeds of liberty. And where the pole reversed today is my question.
Well, we're right here, man. I'm telling you, I'm trying to get people
many of us try to move to New Hampshire.
And you for calling in, caller.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you, well. Like, what are we're here saying, ringing bells. What are we doing?
Person, and y'all are a few that have a platform that's able to reach many people who call in, and also they're here. But I'm just blown away. Just ever since the Charlie Kirk thing, it's like, wow. This thing is coming in it's just coming in so fast. It's just unreal. I knew it was coming about, but, I didn't think it was going to be, every time you turn around, also, too, the executive orders, just nonstop. It's just like, and then let me ask you this. What's your take on this? When he raises his fist up, isn't that like Stalin?
When Trump got shot, is that what you mean?
Well, that's right. When he raises his fist up, Hitler did the same thing. And let me ask you this. What about the golden age of America when it was stated that the golden age starts now after he stated in the inauguration, the second term, and yet when we look back through the archives of Hitler's speeches, he said the same thing.
Oh, wow.
The golden age.
Well, that's because it all comes back to, you get these fascistic talking points from the rise of communism correlates directly with the rise of the fascistic takeover of Europe in the early 1900s to the 30s.
People will be begging for right-wing
People will be begging for fascism because they look at communists, and communists are psychotic, and they say anything but that. And some guy comes in promising something that isn't a reality.
But they're both evil. They're
both evil. These are both totalitarians.
I couldn't agree with you more. You have the right. You have the spin that's happening on the right and saying that anybody who says that this is a fascist type of government right now, or, you hear it on the different medias, you know what I'm talking about, Fox News, and you won't, let's just say you're not left or right, you're a constitutionalist, they still consider you in the category that you are the one that's tearing down America.
Well, that's because they browbeat us with the term fascist and Nazi for regular positions, to the point where these ludicrous positions aren't. The left used the Nazi term way too much. They played the card out. So now when actual bad things are happening, nobody cares.
Yeah, they like to mess with definitions.
The boy has cried wolf to the point where it doesn't matter. The cities are not safe to be in at night. There's people doing bad things all over. People getting arrested 30 times without getting actually being put in prison. 30, with 25 felony convictions who finally get into a house and stab a teenage girl. So we're not protecting civilians. We're asking for these people, for regular people, to embrace these fascist ideologies, because we're not as with all governments, they're breaking down, and it's broken down to the point where normal people don't feel safe in their cities, so they're willing to tolerate this kind of action.
Didn't Benjamin Franklin state that if you are willing to give up your freedom, your freedom, your liberty, and your freedom and your rights for the sake of peace and safety,
you deserve neither?
Did he not say that you don't deserve it?
I think it may have been Jefferson, but
no, it was Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
No, and he was 100% right.
Oh yeah,
he was
absolutely.
100% correct. You have to. But the founding fathers also wrote that the Constitution in this form of government only works for immoral people.
Yeah.
And it only works if we're good, upstanding citizens.
And
we
you
want
have to
see
choose
things
the
do
immoral
better.
person.
Yes, and it seems like we've opted
Let me
people
ask you this.
out of being good people. We've given them an out.
Yes, sir. Do you sense a drifting that in this nation that we are trying to legislate morality, and you cannot legislate morality?
No, you can't.
No, absolutely not. It doesn't work.
It has to be it has to come from the society that you live in. Yeah, it comes from your neighborhood. It's what the people around you are willing to tolerate. Because we're pack animals. We have to work together in order to survive.
Yes. I couldn't agree with you more, y'all. I think you're doing great and trying to get the word out. But by golly, I think we're really all in trouble right now.
Do you mind me asking what state you're calling from, caller?
I'd rather not say.
No, no problem.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd rather not say.
Been a fun call. You should call in more often. We're on every Saturday and Sunday.
I hear you. I do listen to you when you're on, and I think it's a great platform you have. And when it comes down to the media that's out there that sets the spin on a lot of stuff that they label us as what they label us as. And I don't like that, because I am a constitutionalist, and I will defend the Constitution, foreign and domestic. And I think we have a domestic enemy within, and that's why I think we're in a civil war, a type of civil war. And we're going to lose it under this administration. I have my own take on it, and I presented it to you. I think we're seeing our last president, and the signs are all around us.
Yep. Well, thanks so much for the call. I mean, that exact.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity of sharing and getting your viewpoints on a few things that we've touched on. Thank you so much.
Anytime you want to call back in. And the number is 603-283-6160 for anybody who's listening and wants to call in as well.
I love open line shows because we can have callers like that last caller call in and bring up their insights, because we're just three people here trying to do a show. We don't know everything, so it's nice to have people give us their insights.
But I do know that something's wrong. Something, I can feel it. Something is wrong. Deeply, deeply wrong.
And then it's just like, maybe we've focused a lot on this in this episode. Maybe if somebody never hearing any of these ideas would just think, well, what do we do? I think some of the points Riley did start to bring it up is move where other people think like you do. And in my case, that's New Hampshire.
Build a community, for sure. That's huge. Community's probably the number one thing to get you through the next, whatever is coming, or even if everything chills out.
Yep.
Community is what is one of the biggest things for your mental and physical health.
Also, make sure you know your community well. Get involved with them as much as possible.
And you don't have to just stick with the one you were born in. You can move.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can find your people.
And other thing is, well, the United States wasn't able to get too far locked down during 2020 because we own guns. That's where I still stand. I still believe that.
That's the problem, is when the Second Amendment is only there when the first quits working, right? But if you suggest that in any sense, you don't want to espout for violence. Nobody wants violence. It's a security feature, but eventually the government's not going to care.
Yeah, but I say that there needs to be another word for self-defense that isn't violence. I understand that the definition literally covers self-defense as well. It's like, oh, well, like going and hurting someone else. But I think English needs a new word because it's just like, the Second Amendment isn't about violence.
No, but it's not. You don't want to. I don't want people to go out and hunt other people down in their houses or like.
Yeah, I don't think most
that's
people
ridiculous.
That own guns want that.
No, they don't. They don't. But I just think we're coming to a crossroads with a ridiculously egotistical president.
Way more people who want to own guns and want more people to own guns. Want them for protecting what they have when crap goes down, and the welfare, useless people who have no skills are out in the streets hunting for food. They want the guns to protect what they have, not to go out and take from others.
Right, and for the people who would say that, well, the average person doesn't need an assault rifle, who are they to say what I do and do not need? Besides, I would rather stand up to tyranny and have a fighting chance against a government gang than not have a chance against the government gang.
Yep, I just want more and more and more people, normal people in my state to own guns, and I want people...
That itself is just a deterrent. Just having them in the households keeps the government at bay. Just the more you have, the less likely the people are going to want to bust into your house over your social media post. The reason, if in England, every time those cops went to arrest somebody for a social media post, it was a risk of their life.
Yeah.
They would stop. They would go home.
They would refuse to,
Especially the video of those two ladies who showed up for that
social media post.
Yeah, the social media post. They would not be there if there was some crazy Tennessean behind the door with the sawed off waiting for them to come arrest him for looking at something on X.
Yeah.
They just go home.
Yep. I still believe that's one reason that America didn't go as far as like New Zealand, Australia, even Argentina,
They did in places
Canada.
like California.
Oh, well.
They did in places where people didn't have guns.
Not as bad as them. They didn't go like, oh, you can't go from this city to this city.
No, they didn't. They weren't.
Or like you have to check in on the app that you're home. Stuff like that.
Some of those cities were doing the contact tracing pretty heavily. Where they would come to your house and be like, you were exposed to COVID through the contract. I think the app was voluntary, but everybody's a sheep and they all downloaded
camps.
it. Yeah.
Not in California,
well, they did
but
that here. They did that in New York.
I didn't see concentration camps.
With the tents, the medical tents, where they put all the sick people.
Really?
Or like when Cuomo put all the sick people with the old people.
Oh, at the very beginning, and he killed a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
They did round up a bunch of people.
I don't think it was really the same thing, though. Like, oh, you were out somewhere without a mask.
No, they didn't.
It was more like old people are in danger,
I did see them arrest people
them.
for surfing on an empty beach in California. So,
yeah, and they did that in other states
that's
too.
Like... that's pretty draconian.
But that's what I'm saying. That's like those things you're saying. It's just like nothing compared to like we talked to this one lady that used to come to Social Sunday. It was in Germany. She's like, I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear one thing you have to say because she couldn't even travel to the next town. Stuff like that. Like and they're always like threatening you in the streets with their armored police cars in Canada and stuff like that. Like with a sound coming out of the top saying like do not leave your house.
To the truckers in Ottawa they just depersoned them, wiped their bank accounts, wiped like their identity from the Canadian.
And weren't saying that just today, maybe the news came out today, maybe it happened yesterday. Trade Ogre, apparently a exchange, I think I had actually heard of this exchange, never used it, was just seized in Canada and their owners arrested, and 45 million, I think it was, dollars were in crypto were seized from the site. So don't keep your crypto on an exchange. It's not your keys. It's not your crypto, and it could be stolen by a government, federal agency at any point.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, you know? Not your keys, not your crypto. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you keep your wallets close and know your seed phrases.
Yeah, but they did the stuff like that to the I almost said the ogres because I was writing down trade ogres, but they did stuff like that to the truckers. Like they stole their cryptocurrency. They froze their GoFundMes when they got GoFundMes, and of course, first they started off freezing their bank accounts.
Oh yeah,
not even freezing, wiping.
Yep, that's crazy.
Oh, that's
not just freezing your money, not allowing you to access it, taking it away, wiping.
Because they didn't want to get vaccinated so they didn't want to shoot something into their body.
They wanted the shutdown to end. They wanted to get back to work. They wanted to feed their families, which you should be allowed to do. That's the idea that we weren't allowed to go make money to feed your family.
And I remember the people complaining about it that lived in Ottawa, where like cubicle workers or bureaucrats and stuff like that. They're like, they're making it loud outside my house. Well, you're making it to where they can't live.
My
literally.
stomach's loud from grumbling because my kids aren't eating, because I'm a trucker and I live month to month because that's my life.
And then your government just stole all the rest of the money that they had. Well, the epicenter of school choice in Arizona is what they're calling it. I'm not really sure if it's the best one or not. I don't really know if New Hampshire is the best one, but New Hampshire has a pretty good one here.
Idaho's pretty good.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard that. So at the epicenter of school choice, Arizona public schools battle existential crisis. Yay! Educators fight back against falling enrollments and rising competition. One idea: mimic restaurant industry focus on customer service. Will the bureaucrats be able to do it? Bureaucrats are allergic to customer service. That's why they got bureaucrat jobs.
Yeah, you ever been to the DMV? Customer service isn't very much in their to-do list.
It says public school leaders in Arizona recently convened a summit to combat an existential crisis. Across the state, enrollments at district public schools are falling. Last month, superintendents gathered in Phoenix at the Traditional Public Schools Messaging Summit to strategize ways to improve the perception of public education.
Oh, wow.
The goal: woo families and bolster political support. In an opening brainstorming session, educators shouted out benefits of public schooling. "We welcome all," said one person. "We represent the community," added another. "And there are comprehensive choices in public education," chimed in a third. Wow, what nonsense. And all I can think is like, these people don't get it.
No, they just want to. No, the issue is this isn't even a right or left thing. This isn't more people. This isn't more people taking their kids to homeschool. This is no kids. This is a collapsed birth rate.
Well, declining birth rates is definitely part of it, but also it's actually having to compete for once in their lives in Arizona.
That's how they're going to frame it. But I think this is just a symptom of a much larger problem nobody's looking into.
Well, I'm glad to hear that they're having problems at government prisons, schools. Free Talk Live, freetalklive.com for more. Thanks for listening. We'll be live again tomorrow. Peace.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of